stay back here.
Hi, and welcome to the Quarantine Theater Company. Tonight we will be reading Jaws, one of my favorite Spielberg movies, and of course many of your favorites as well. Joining us tonight as Martin Brody, we've got George. As Quint and others, we've got Travis. As Hooper and others, we've got Jeremy. Ooh la la. As Tom Cassidy and many other people, we've got the Hennifer with us. I'm just
Jennifer
going to
Lopez.
mispronounce everybody's name. As Polly and Lidwood and many others, we've got Hot Kate, Kate, there we go, Kate. And as Mayor
Okay.
Vaughn and many others, we have Rion. And I am Anne, and I will be the scene
You're
description.
French, apparently.
And I'm also going to be Ellen Brody and a bunch of other people because I've been way too much off tonight. All right, so without further ado, let's go. All right, Jaws by Peter Benchley. Over black, sounds of the inner space rushing forward. Then a splinter of blue light in the center of the picture. It breaks wide, showing the top and bottom of a silhouetted curtain of razor-sharp teeth, suggesting that we are inside of a tremendous gullet. Looking out at the onrushing undersea world at night, we hear a symphony of underwater sounds. SeaWorld at night. Oh, wait, no, I already said that. Landslide, metabolic sounds, the rare and secret noises that certain undersea species share with each other. Sorry, that's my whale noise. Exterior lighthouse night. Caught in its blinding flash, the light moves on. Fingering the fog, a lone buoy dongs somewhere out to sea. Exterior Amity Main Street night. A quaint little resort town is quiet in the middle of the night. A ground fog rounds a corner and begins spreading towards us. It fills over sidewalks and streets like some biblical plague. Exterior the south shore of Long Island night. It is a pleasant, moonless, windless night in mid-June. We see a long, straight stretch of white beach. Behind the low dunes are dark shapes of large, expensive houses. The fog that has reached Amity proper is seen only as a low-hanging cloud that is pushing in from the sea. We hear a number of voices singing. It sounds like Eastern University's alma mater. Bonfire is blazing. Gathered around it are a dozen young men and women who are merrily trading fight songs from their respective universities. Get down. Sorry. Two young people break away from the circle. Charisse almost pulling a drunk and disorderly Tom Cassidy behind her. Close up, Cassidy makes a clumsy try at kissing Christina, but she laughs and ducks away. Another part of the beach, the fire, now 100 yards in the background, silhouettes. Chrissy, I can now read it, Chrissy, up a steep dune. Once there, she pauses to look at the ocean that we can only hear. Cassidy plods up the dune behind her, grossly cut out of shape. Chrissy runs down a few steps, leaving Tom Cassidy reeling on the summit. Chrissy's dress, bra, and panties fly towards Tom, who can't make a fist to catch them. The dress drapes over one half of his head. Soggily aroused, Cassidy struggles to get his shoe off. But Chrissy is already in full flight towards the water. In she goes, a delicate splash, surfacing in a cold ocean that is usually placid. Chrissy pulls with her arms, drawing herself into deeper water. That's when we see it. The gentle bulge in the water, a ripple that passes her a dozen feet away. A wave of pressure lifts her up and eases her down again. Her face shows the beginning of fear. Maybe it's Tom. She smiles and looks for him. And then her eyes go to the beach where Tom, too drunk to stand, one pant leg off, is struggling with his other shoe. Chrissy turns and starts for the shore. Close on Chrissy, her expression freezes. Water lump is racing for her. It bolts her upright out of the water and up to her hips and slams her hard, whipping her head upward in an arc of 8 feet before she is jerked down to her open mouth. Another jolt to her floating hair. One hand claws at the air, fingers trying to breathe. Then it too is sucked below, and a final and terrible jerking motion. Hold on the churning froth of a baby whirlpool until we are sure it is over. Angle on Cassidy, his undershorts laughing, turning in slow, stoned circles, a prisoner in his orange windbreaker that seems to have him in a full Nelson. He succumbs to his knees, or stumbles to his knees. Interior, Martin Brody's bedroom. Dawn, alarm clock radio is giving a weather bulletin. Rena weather, westerly winds, light chop, etc. A pair of bumps under the bedsheet. There is a rustling and 2 stocking feet swing up and settle heavily on the floor. Follow them as they pad along the hardwood floor to the bathroom tile. A light pops on and the feet arrive at a scale. Board it. In a blur, it goes to 191. Then, as if by magic, the numbers float backward to 160. Angle on Martin Brody. At 42, he stands rigid, lifting himself from the sink countertop with both hands. Satisfied, he turns towards the mirror, squinting in the light, measuring himself up and down. Advancing waistline, receding hairline, gray around the ears, Martin Brody makes another silent promise to get his act together. Tomorrow. He reaches for the sliding mirror and opens the medicine cabinet. There's a travel brochure of Arizona on the shelf. Ooh, who doesn't want to go to Arizona? Brody shakes his head and removes it. He closes the mirror, which now reflects his wife, Ellen Brody, and pert and poised off to one side. Martin, aren't you tired of Maine lobster, Long Island ducking, and Ipswich clams? God, just once, couldn't you go for a Big Mac at the bottom of the Grand Canyon this summer?
Look at me, I'm not even awake.
You've had no time off in 2 years, Martin.
Living here is time off.
Brody opens up the shower door to turn on the water. Ellen in his scotch-taped travel folder for exotic Mazatlan, Mexico on the shower head. She's trying to tell you something, Martin. Martin is getting dressed after a shower. Ellen stands by the curtained window.
Larry Vaughn says we'll pull a record season. Ellen, we're collecting enough rentals to cover the mortgage payments for all 3 of our beachfront investments.
I know where we can invest that in an Indian Chief motorhome for the whole of August. Drop it off in Aspen, Colorado, and then jet back to Boston by Labor Day. Ellen pulls from behind her back of her 3 brochures of trailer home rentals.
Look, Ellie, let's just
Play it by ear. Ellen turns to open the curtain. Sunlight and ocean sparkle pour in glorious view. Another shitty day in paradise? Is that what the word is? Shorty? I don't know.
think it's shitty.
This is a, 40-year-old script? The sunlight catches Brody's police chief badge as he slips on his shirt, and we discover why he can't go anywhere. Apparently they don't allow vacations. Interior Brody's kitchen. Morning, Brody ripping open a 25-pound bag of kennel ration as 5 hungry mutts. Jesus, 5 somersault around his feet. The telephone rings and Brody one-hands it as he attempts to sew all 5 bowls with missed double helpings.
Yeah, morning, Hendricks. What's what?
He listens, sours, and takes a breath.
First goddamn weekend of the summer. Great start. Oh, take him back to the beach. Maybe she washed in.
Exterior Island Highway. Morning. Martin Brody's country squire police wagon rushes past, taking view of the enormous billboard depicting a typical summer day in Amity. A beautiful model splashes in the golden surf, languishing in a solar-cane sun. Amity welcomes you is written above her flailing arms. Exterior Amity Beach Day. 3 small figures in the landscape walking the beach. The surf is rough and there is a seafloor debris strewn about on the receding tide. Closer at the angle, Deputy Hendricks is searching the shore about 100 yards downwind. Meanwhile, Brody in his casual police attire and Tom Cassidy, still in the clothing we saw him in last night, poke around the smoking ashes of the bonfire. Brody fingers the missing girl's shoes. They need to stop using that word, finger. Purse and clothes. In the daylight, Cassidy looks like a junior in high school and misconducts himself, wavering between inflated maturity and tear-down adolescence.
Seen what?
Worthington. No one ever died on me before.
You picked her up on the ferry,
I didn't know her.
and nobody else saw her in the water.
Somebody could have, because I was sort of, I was passed out.
It sounds to me like maybe she ran out on you.
No, sir. I never had a woman do that. I'm sure she drowned.
A shrill whistle makes them turn. Hendrix is 50 yards away on his knees. He blows again, a feeble report this time.
We'll know in a minute.
Brody runs towards Hendrix. Cassidy hesitates, then follows with,
You can't make me look.
Master Angle, the sand dune. A skein of seaweed garnishes the base of this isolated dune. Booming waves and fizzing surf make a dialogue inaudible. Deputy Hendrix, on his hands and knees, looking white as a sheet. Brody tells Cassidy to wait at the foot of the dune and ventures up. Hendrix stops him with a wave off, saying that something at the same time. Brody nods, understanding, and steps up cautiously and looks down. Whatever he sees is marked effect on his entire physique. Kicking out with his foot, Brody sends dozens of angry horseshoe crabs into an escape frenzy as they boil over to the top of the dune and down its slopes. Cassidy takes a few uneasy steps backwards when Brody waves him over. He shakes his head an awkward moment, then Cassidy shuffles forward and up the few remaining feet, his eyes looking everywhere but down. Brody says something else, and Cassidy shakes his head again. Eyes cut at the sea, Brody puts his hand gently around the quaking man's shoulders, nodding. He starts to look down, an inch at a time. He looks. He falls backward in a sitting position as though shot. Nods. Yes, it's her. Brody turns and slides off the dune, stumbling close. Hear his breathing. He looks around, envisioning the week ahead of him. Interior Brody's office, day. Brody walks through the door and enters to his office, holding a fizzing glass of Alka-Seltzer. Polly, his 61-year-old secretary, follows close on his heels with her shorthand pad of messages and reminders. In the outer office, Hendrix and Cassidy slump into the chairs, sipping from fizzing Dixie cups. Brody sits behind the typewriter, only to find that somebody has placed a travel folder to sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. That was me, between the rolls of his Smith Corona. He sighs and replaces the colorful brochure with grim accident report. As he types, Polly reads his calendar to him, undaunted by Brody's heavy malaise.
This is in no order of importance, Chief. There's a meeting on Amity Town Council on Aging this Monday night. Benton Court Hall. The fire inspector wants you to go over the fireworks site with him before he catches the 1 o'clock ferry. Mainly, you have a batch of calls about that new karate school.
The new what?
Karate school?
I heard the new crud.
I didn't do it.
Not SpongeBob.
I was like, okay. All right. Close in accident report. Brody has just typed the girl's name. He skips the space for cause of death and just under it types next of kin information as he collected from her wallet.
Sterley's Rent-A-Bike, the Rainy Ale, Tisbury's Hardware. They say it's those 9-year-olds from the school practicing karate on all those nice picket fences.
The phone rings and Polly picks up.
It's the coroner. Somebody passed away in the night.
Brody nestles the phone between ear and collar, listening as he turns to the typewriter.
Jesus Santos.
Insert accident report. Cause of death line rolls into place. The hammers punch out. Shark attack! Woo-woo-woo! Brody leans forward, staring at what he just wrote. Polly cocks her head and removes the phone from his ear.
What's the matter?
Brody takes a breath. A new resolve comes over him.
Ollie, I want to know what water recreation the Island Fathers have on for today.
Right this minute?
Brody gets up and moves hastily towards the door. Brody's outer office. Cassidy and Hendrix look up as Brody enters.
Where'd you hide the beach closed signs?
We never had any. What's the problem? A local merchant comes through the door. Somebody be the local merchant.
Glad I caught
What?
you. Glad I caught you. There's a city truck with New Hampshire plates parked right in front of my.
Brody pushes right past him and out the door. Exterior Amity Main Street day. In the busy center of town, preparing for a big 4th of July weekend, Brody wends his way around the sidewalk activity, purpose and haste in each stride. As he turns corner, a little man in white smock emerges from the funeral parlor. This is Carlos Santos, Amity's part-time coroner. Santos looks both ways before crossing the Colonial Drive. Well done, Santos. Brody passes Keisel's bicycle rental, navigating an awkward course through an odd assortment of Schwinns that the lined sidewalk in front of them demolished white picket fence. Keisel intercepts Brody on the run.
8 to 10 years old, average size about 5'4". Otherwise, the overhand chops would be higher up on the fences. And I have a pretty damn good idea who the little bastards are.
Yeah, call me later in the afternoon, Harry.
Engel, Amity Gazette newspaper office porch. Santos emerges with Ben Meadows, the stylish late 30s editor from the Amity Gazette. Together, they cut a beeline for the other side of the street. Engel on Amity Street, past taverns and chowder shacks, past bleacher construction, July 4th protesters. Brody enters Linwood's Hardware and Sporting Goods, so overstocked that the beach umbrellas, aluminum deck chairs, and rainbow beach towels splash a surplus of color from the display of window to the sidewalk. Interior Linwood's Hardware and Sporting Goods day. The store proprietor is busy at work on an inventory list with a mainland delivery man.
Stuff's no good to me in August when the pilgrims come in June. Go on and help yourself to whatever you need, Chief. Can you work the register?
Small towns, man. Exterior Linwood's day. Brody emerges with enough poster board, wooden stakes, nails, paint, and brushes to close every beach on the island. He starts back the way he came when Hendricks shoots up the street in the patrol jeep. He stops, fast enough to call attention, leans out the window. I sent Sammy ahead of me to the South Chop Beach until I can make up the signs.
Let Polly do the printing.
There's a scout troop in Averill Bay doing a mile swim for their merit badges. I couldn't call them in. There's no phones out there.
Oh, brother, just give me the keys, Lenny.
Brody leaps behind the wheel as Hendricks steps out. Exterior Vaughn's Realty Day. His secretary is removing 4 8x10 glossies of beachfront houses from the display window, revealing Larry Vaughn, the mayor of Amity, exchanging anxieties with Ben Meadows and Coroner Santos and the 2 other city selectmen. They come out in a group, reach the sunlight, and squint down onto the street as Brody careens around the corner and out of sight. Deputy Hendricks, laden with his arts and crafts, passes them on the street front.
What have you got there, Lenny?
We had a shark attack South Chop this morning, Mayor. Fatal. Gonna batten down the beach. Vaughn and the group exchange horrified looks, but we get the impression that is not the response to the shark attack news.
Who have you told this to, Lenny?
I just found out about it, but there's a bunch of Boy Scouts in the water a couple miles down the coast from where we found the girl. Averill Bay, thereabouts? Chief went to dry them off.
Take my car, okay? You come with us, Lenny.
I've got all these signs here.
Come on, it'll give us time to think about what they're going to say.
They all crowd into a Cadillac Eldorado with Vaughn Realty signs on the doors. Exterior Averill Bay Day. The flotilla of 20 exhausted Boy Scouts around a life buoy that marks the quarter mile. A rowboat with a scoutmaster and bullhorn keeps pace. On the beach, 2 older Sea Scouts time the event with stopwatches, and a couple of dozen parents look on, shading their eyes. Brody's Jeep pulls up in the background and stops. He gets out and starts down the breakwater when the mayor's Cadillac pulls up and skids to a stop. Brody pauses momentarily as Mayor Vaughn emerges, trying to effect an easygoing appearance. Reaching Brody, he slips an arm around his shoulder, trying to slow him as Brody leads the gang toward the breakwater and the slogging scouts.
Where are you going to get the authority to close the beaches?
Brody stops. He sees pitiful Hendricks standing by the car with the signboard material. Brody begins to slow burn.
Are you asking me as the mayor or as a real estate broker or out of friendly interest or what, Larry?
I just want you aware of what you're doing before you tinker with the lifeblood of all those sage and discriminating souls who elected you. Next week's the goddamn 4th of July. We've got a couple thousand summer people coming over here who would gladly use the Cape Cod beaches if they can't use ours.
So what you're suggesting is we lay out a smorgasbord for the shark, all you can eat for the price of a weekend on Amity Island.
We're not even sure it was a shark.
What else could do that?
Boat propeller?
Possibly. Yes.
Swims way out, night. Fishing boat comes along.
What is this?
Somebody just be Meadows.
We've never had the shark trouble here, Martin. They don't come in close. No reefs or fish processing plants, slaughterhouses, nothing to keep it in interest.
You print whatever you want.
Martin, sharks are life axe murderers. People react to them with their guts.
Brody looks towards the open water. The Boy Scouts have made a turn and are passing the live buoy, marking the 3/4 mile point.
Whatever was out there is miles out to sea by now. Sharks don't have swim bladers like most fish. They have to keep moving or drown. Don't you know anything about them?
I don't go around the water much.
It's one chance in a million this will happen again. Look at that, safe and sound.
The Boy Scouts are emerging exhausted. Some flop down on their backs, happy it's over. Brody considers this.
Had you yelled shark, those Cub Scouts would have broken the freestyle record for the 100-meter, then busted our backs with word of mouth.
That's the test case for your 1,000,000 to 1 shot. I'm glad I lost.
That was a bad time to take a bite. Vaughn feels secure that Brody will not act in haste. He puts a hand on his shoulder, turns, and walks him towards the cars.
Listen, Chief. The funniest thing you know, listen, Chief. Funniest thing. You know the white picket fence around my realty office?
Closing on Quint, rising like a Neptune out of the deep. Quint walks the sidewalk in the pool of his own shadow. He is a sleek and sinewy specimen, inches over 6 feet, with a face making it hard to determine where the scars leave off and the wrinkles begin, though he is no older than 50. Quint seems to be heading for the local tavern when a crunch of seafaring fishermen pour out, forming an impenetrable no around the sidewalk in front of him. One of them sees Quint, who approaches with no intention of slowing down. The 7 fishermen never give it a second thought. They part like the Red Sea, clearing a beeline trail to the bar doors. Quint bursts through their obliging ranks and turns into the music store. The tiny bell jingles daintily. 2 of the Portuguese fishermen split 3 times, taking no chances. Interior Amity Music Store day. Quint brushes against the counter. The shopkeeper is helping a 10-year-old boy fix a new reed to his clarinet. The little boy produces a mellow tone, then wonderingly rides the scale. With little or no effect, Quint's gnarled hand floats up and drops like a sledge on the service bell. The shopkeeper's eyes pop up, and the kid hits a bad note and squeaks.
4 spools, number 12 piano wire.
Catch any monsters lately, Mr. Quint?
Quint's eyes never leave the little boy. He's drilling him with a sidelong whammy. The boy feels Quint nailing him, and a ragged assortment of squeaks, blurps, and missed tones override the sound of shopkeeper unspooling the piano wire. Interior Brody's study at home, sunset. A riffly blur color alternating with black and white. The dizziness stops in the book page showing a black and white rendering of 8 species of shark. The banner at the top of the page reaches the known and reputed man-eaters. Whoa, whoa, here they come. The riffling sounds begin. Again, stops by a grisly photograph of a scar tissue on the 6 former shark victims. Rifling, stop. Photograph of 5 ichthyologists, that is the correct way to say that, posing on wooden stools, framed by the enormous jaws of prehistoric shark from the family Carcharodon Charcharias.
Carcharias.
In Great White, Anne.
Did I just get corrected by Travis?
Damn it, Travis.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Hold on, let me check outside to make sure it's not all on fire and the world is ending. Anyway, back to Brody. His reading glasses reflecting a stack of 12 library books, all on the subject of shark attacks. The door opens and Ellen enters quietly in respect for Brody's mood. Can you stand something to eat?
I'd love a cup of tea with lemon.
Ellen walks past Brody to the window and looks out the window, which overlooks the South Bay. It is the hour of dusk. Mikey loves his birthday presents.
Where is he?
He's sitting in it. Brody gets up concerned and joins her at the window. Honey, he has it tied up to the jetty with a double knot. Brody's point of view, Michael is sitting in the boat, but two of his young school chums are in the water swimming around it. Brody opens the window and calls down.
Son, out of the water now.
How about neat, Dad?
Tell him I want him out of the ocean.
It's 3 feet deep, Martin. You said that the shark was halfway back to Florida.
Michael, come inside the house.
It's his birthday tomorrow.
I told him not to go out until he memorized the handbook, safety regulations, and
Ellen's eyes drift down to the open book. One large text is open to a page of illustrations. Among them is the famous painting, The Gulf Stream, which depicts a black fisherman and a small dinghy, much like Michael's, being assaulted by the pressing jaws of 3 man-eaters. Startled, Ellen closes the book and opens the window and sticks her head out. You heard your father! Out now! Exterior beach day. A jelly bowl woman visitor to Amity's Beaches plunges headlong into the white foam. There's enough of her stuffed into a one-piece bathing suit to sate the appetite of any shark for weeks. Wow. Remarkably buoyant. Jesus. She chops at the water, revealing another cheerful Sunday bathers, trying to enjoy the last cluttered weekend before the holiday crowds. Angle on Brody and Ellen. Starbucks significant other is meowing out the window. Brody is balefully alert this morning, sitting straight backed in his beach chair, coating the swimming area with careful looks. About 10 other adults and a dozen children attend this casual birthday get-together.
I don't envy you this summer, Chief. Every year the swarms get worse.
I know why there's not a sane Parisian left in Paris from July to September. Brody hears a scream from the water. He cranes his neck past Max's wife in order to see Brody's point of view. A young lady is being pulled underwater to her hair. Instantly, she's jerked up again, sitting on her boyfriend's shoulders, laughing hysterically.
what?
What?
Did you say something?
No, yeah. I was wondering if it's true that you sit in your car the whole while over there on the mainland ferry.
His son Michael, along with 7 other boys, rush headlong into the gentle surf with their inflatable rubber rafts. Another youngster, Alex Kinter, gathers up his day-glow yellow raft, but his mother takes issue and a tug-of-war ensues. Overlapping dialogue. What a terrible thing to say!
Come on,
Please
Penny.
let me take my raft, Mom.
I'm not ashamed to admit that when I fly, my feet sweat right through my socks.
Brody's point of view. A fat woman is going out too far. Straight up calling her fat now. Wow. Do we not have 15? We stay on the fat woman almost hypnotically.
I can't believe it, Brody.
Close on Brody, snapping out of it, looks up at the dripping selectman.
How's the water?
Fine. Fucking cold. How'd you do it, getting him to the beach?
It's Michael's birthday.
Yeah, well, I hope we get this weather next weekend. Same.
Brody's point of view, the fat woman is not where he last remembered seeing her. He sort of rises to one knee, eyes coming to the surf. Do you want me to call the boys in? Honey, if this worries you.
Does this mortal fear of the water have a clinical name, Martin?
Drowning.
Dick. On exterior underwater day, a fisheye view of people laying on rafts. From below, we see the outlines of swimmers, arms and legs dangling, tantalizing in the blue water. Traveling this way from raft to raft, there comes a space of open water, followed by a quick view of a single raft. A pair of feet kicking and arms paddling produce a bizarre underwater vibrations. Louder than human ears would normally perceive. Angle on the surface. The lady is floating on her back wearing pink sunglasses. A black object surfaces next to her. It emerges as a bather in a black bathing cap. Thought it was a shark, didn't you? Angle on Alex, water level, paddling in circles, making motorboat sounds. Angle on two lovers, kissing and drawing each other below the surface. Angle on Brody's son, separating from his friends, eating a huge piece of cake and trying to steer with the other hand. Who eats cake in a raft in the water? Group of kids on rubber rafts, they begin a water fight, slapping at the ocean with karate-type blows, sending little explosions of water at each other. Then, no more than 10 feet beyond fighting, a genuine water eruption upstages the child's play. Everybody turns just as the ocean flattens itself out again. A pug-faced, oversized 12-year-old named PJ renews the fighting with genuine karate yell. Matthew, he hits the water, which sprays all over another youngster. Closing on Matthew, his face dripping with red rivulets. Close looks down at his hands. The water surrounding all the boys is slick with blood. People begin to congregate around the older gentleman. Definitely a mainlander by his outfit.
Came out of the water. Didn't anybody else see it?
There's blood.
Closing on Brody, he stands all the way up. This time, parents begin calling a frantic inventory of lost children up and down the beach. Brody is on the move, barreling to the shoreline, and he kicks up sand by passing Alex's mother, who looks up from her novel annoyed.
Michael, everybody out of the water. Michael.
Other names from hysterical parents as the panic and yet unseen tragedy arises. Angle on Michael appears from the chute of breaking waves. He's all right, but the wave that curls after him carries these shredded pieces of the day-glow yellow raft. The foam that breaks wide on the sandy beach is tinged with pink. Interior, the county courthouse and offices day. A crowd of men and women in an angry tangle outside of Brody's office. These are the shop owners, real estate brokers, hotel managers, and selectmen on the island. Though through the windows, the South Beach High School band is practicing for their 4th of July parade. Brody and Vaughn exit Brody's office and enter the fray.
I'm glad everyone could make this meeting. Why don't we wander down the hall to my office where there's room?
All follow Brody and Vaughn. Meadows pushes through the crunch to speak.
Don't keep us in suspense, Mayor. What's the verdict?
Vaughn cannot bring himself to say it right away.
Larry and I have agreed to close all of the beaches for a limited period of time to give us a chance to contact the Port Authority and United States Coast Guard out on Montauk.
Well, that could take all summer.
24 hours.
24
We
hours?
never
like
agreed to that.
But I'll do a thrifty business here, but I will not see it flourish at the price of any more lives.
3 reservations canceled, and I still have August rentals open.
So do I, Martha. So do I.
They reach Vaughn's office. It is being painted. Newspapers are strewn all over the floor and paint spattered tarps over the furniture. Vaughn's secretary is still dutifully takes calls.
Larry, 2 Newsday reporters and 1 from the New York Times, calling every 15 minutes.
Good people. Nobody saw a shock.
What they'll print is maybe it was a shock.
Oh, wonderful. And what we'll have is maybe a summer.
Town will lose tax revenue, municipal services, the people begin to move away. Oh, I don't care. I never raised my kids to be somebody's lunch. And yeah, I know I got that wrong, but welcome to New England.
We have no way of keeping a lid on what happened yesterday.
God love you, Travis. God love you.
And we're well over 100 bathers on the beach, 3/4 of them from the mainland.
Vaughn leads the way down the hall towards the Bureau of Records room. I'm not interested in participating in any cover-ups, Mayor.
I wouldn't worry too much about that, Max. The president himself couldn't stop the mushrooming at this point.
Selectman Dernherder almost whispers in Vaughn's ear lovingly, with tenderness.
But couldn't we say that the kid drowned?
We couldn't even find the little bastard.
Vaughn opens the door to the Bureau of Records. About 24 children sit around. Future shark food, twisting multicolored Kleenex into artificial flowers for the big parade. Vaughn turns his face into a condescending grin.
Could the big people have a grown-up meeting in here? Please, children?
Get lost.
A voice from behind Vaughn draws him away. It's a small but muscular man named Salvatore.
Mr. Vaughn,
He stepped out of the shadows, hat in hand.
Mr. Quint sent me down from Jacobstown.
What for?
Well, he out catching them things every day practically. Price is right. He come catch yours here.
What's he get?
10,000 and a color TV.
How much?
TV? Sorry.
27-inch Japanese one.
Vaughn smiles, or studies the little blinking man ready to laugh.
Mr. Quint's services are not required. Thanks. Is there any empty office anywhere in this goddamn building?
Weights and measures nobody ever uses.
Vaughn starts away, and the crowd follows.
I'd all it in myself before I pay anything up to that maniac. You want to hear what he did to 3 friends of mine on St. Valentine's Day sporting charter?
They are halted in their tracks by the grim appearance of Mrs. Kinter and her benign father. She's dressed in a church white with black armband. Mrs. Kintner never says a word. She has just tacked something into the community bulletin board and is walking through the parting crowd with sympathy. All watch her leave, then press up to the corkboard. Brody fights his way through everyone until we are standing over his shoulder staring at the homemade poster that offers all or fraction of a $3,000 bounty to the man or men who catch and slaughter the shark, that savage Alex M. Kintner Jr. on Sunday, June 29th in the town of Amity.
Listen, Larry, I'm going to talk to her. This isn't a contest we want everybody from Boston to Quebec entering.
I agree. If she's going to advertise, I wouldn't recommend out-of-city papers. There's enough of us here in Amity that could take care of this.
Larry, I'm responsible for the public safety around here.
So I think tomorrow you should go out with whoever and see that they don't get hurt.
But nobody sport fishes for shark.
No one will listen. Already plans are being discussed, sides chosen, boats, tackle, and tactics recommended. The den overrules Brody, who we pull in close and cut to interior Quint's chum shed. A naked 100-watt bulb illuminates the electric grinder purring in one corner. The slick black carcass of a pilot whale dominates the lighted area. Quint is hacking slabs off the whale with his marine machete, and his mate, Salvatore, rolls an empty barrel into the grinder.
Where you find this whale anyway?
Way out, dead as doornail.
How come harpoon holes in him?
Quint doesn't reply as he hacks away. The mate rolls away a full barrel.
You hardly ever use this chummin' for shark.
For some kinds.
Quint muscles a new slab into the grinder, slowing it to a low growl as it purees the blubber.
Go hose the deck. We're chartered for 9 a.m.
Think there's one of those they got down there?
Quint's grim smile is reply enough. Salvatore, looking worried, indicates some barrels full of whale pulp.
Load these on or what?
Quint is hacking revenge from the mutated carcass. He spits away the dripping perspiration.
Not required. Not required. You heard the man. Just a regular charter tomorrow. I'll keep this on ice a while.
Angle out Quint's Marine Corp machete. Chop, chop, chop. A shovel. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Pounding the sharpened standard into the sand. The sign reads, "No swimming or wading. Amity PD." Sunset on the beach. Hendricks and another deputy are assisting Brody. Silhouettes of townspeople look on like mourners at a funeral in the background. Some workmen are taking down the shutters from the quaint summer cottage. They pause to watch the declining moments of the day. 3 selectmen also stand watching. One of them seems to be whispering bounty news to 3 youngish men on a nearby dune. Sounds, surf, and hammering. Exterior grassy inlet and pier at night. Selectman Dernherder and his buddy Charlie, a professional angler, push a wheelbarrow ahead of them as they near the tumble-down jetty that leads 50 feet out into the black water. Both men scuff along exhausted.
You want to call it a night after here?
It's only 2:30. What are you, tired?
Yeah, Charlie, I got my second win, 3 nibbles back.
Dernherder hefts a
Dernherder.
blood-stained laundry bag from the wheelbarrow, revealing about 100 feet of coiled dog chain and large patched inner tube. Charlie takes out a monster hook. Together, they push the wheelbarrow into the rickety pier that is only about 5 feet across.
Like a lamb this time?
Screw lamb. Let's shoot the sirloin.
We're
The
blowing
center-
half the bounty on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
We're blowing half the bounty on bait. Ugh.
Splinter Pierce sways to and fro, and the men reach the end and start to work. Charlie baits the hook with a massive chunk of sirloin while Dernherder secures the loose end of the chain to a skinny piling. Charlie then fastens the inner tube to the chain 5 feet from the end of the hook.
One more after this, and then I'm going home.
Set?
Dernherder tugs the chain against the piling to prove that it is. Okay, sure. Charlie heaves the bait. Splash! The inner tube falls, and both men eagerly watch as it floats seaward, a chain playing out from the wheelbarrow.
Tide's taking it right out.
Charlie lights his pipe and sits back against a piling. He turns on his transistor radio and loops one end around a fractured board. Dernherder paces bored to death.
You do this all the time, right, Charlie?
20 years.
I can't believe that people pay money to do this fishing thing. This is really dumb. Yeah, this isn't even relaxing. It's just fucking boring.
Close in, chain and wheelbarrow suddenly zipping out faster and faster as both men straighten. Dernherder is Google-eyed.
I now know what it's like to be Travis. Hey, what is this?
The chain is coming out so fast that it begins to drag the wheelbarrow to the end of the jetty. A section of chain tangles around the handle and flips an entire machine into the air. Both men watch dumbfounded as the inner tube racing out to sea in a wake of white water suddenly dips under.
Look at him
Oh my
take
god,
it.
Nemo's swimming out to sea!
Did we break her? Did she just... Okay.
Yes.
You guys don't even get eaten either, which sucks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I'm
Charlie.
gonna mute my...
Wait,
where
you're
are
up.
we?
Look at him take it.
So it wasn't my line. Oh wait, no, it is.
No, I already said
I
it.
said the goddamn hook. Shit.
Let him do it. Go, 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 go.
It is then that the chain whips taut against the narrow plugs. Damn it, Santa. Close the piling. A lineup of 5 decrepit 2x4-inch pilings snap up with a resounding crack. Angle jetty. The end of the jetty is yanked loose. Dernherder is flipped like a chip over the side into the cold white night water where he manages to snag a hold of the splintered timber. Dernherder's point of view, the severed junction of the jetty joined the platform of footboards is being dragged seaward with Charlie sitting dazed on top of it, his lit pipe still going.
Charlie, jump.
Charlie rolls into the water and sputters, turns to watch the flotilla of wood draw away. Close on Charlie looking seaward. Charlie's point of view, the end of the jetty makes a 180-degree turn and heads back his direction.
Holy Jesus Christ.
Dernherder steps up on the broken piling just to be out of the water.
Get the hell out of here, bitch, for pronouncing my name like that. Get the hell out, Charlie. Swim. Swim, Charlie.
Charlie inhaling terror, trying to slog to shore. That jetty is getting closer. Suddenly, the chain dragging it through the water is severed and the charging wood falls behind him. And an enormous black fin breaks the water like a periscope. making course corrections as it comes for Charlie. Darn herder jumps from the piling to piling, almost losing his balance on his way to help Charlie. Charlie has reached the last pylon toward the open sea, and his hands clamor for a hold. But insert Charlie's hands. The algae is too slippery. No, and his fingers keep sliding back. That's when the fin behind him seems to reach up to the sky, and Charlie screams. An explosion of water and bubbles mercifully blot out the image. Exterior Amity Harbor, Dawn, Ben Gardner, ready-faced and ornery. Ooh, ornery. Is a fisherman as seaworthy as they come, with his mate, Swede, as he stares to aboard Flicka, a Bertram 28 sports fisherman. Absently, he makes preparations for casting off, his attention focused on surrounding dockside activity and excuse me, High Angle Harbor. Chaos. A dozen cars and trucks double parked on the dock with out-of-state plates from New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Other vehicles are pulling up and parking, men unloading their weapons and boarding small boats. A queue of up-islanders, down-islanders, out-of-towners at the boat rental shack. From rank amateurs to their green golf slacks and alley poor and Levi tatters, all of them this disdainfully observed by Ben Gardner. Cries of cast off and starting, that's not why people say that, I don't know why I said it that way, starting off to diesel engines in contrast to the flooded baby Evinrudes. All of this helped along by a lot of honcho swearing. Take it from there, Jen. I'm kidding. Close. Harbor Master, sleepy. The old salt bends over the dock, washing out his coffee pot in the oily harbor. He sets down the pot, pulls a small wooden chair into the position on which he teeters a bowl of Kellogg's Rice Krispies, and collapses into it with a spoon in hand. He watches stoically as, closing on Brody, riding up on his police bicycle. His police bicycle. Little bike. Deputy Brody joins Deputy Hendricks, who is trying to break up an argument at the rental stand. God Christ, Martin, that Kittner lady must have taken out an ad in Field and Stream.
Like the Harvard Lampoon.
I didn't come all the way out here from New Rochelle to be gouged in the seat of the pants by this loan shark. And stop making fun of my other business, Anne.
Prices go up around here after June 1. Isn't that right, Chief? If you want leaky boats at lower rates, go up to the Hamptons.
Ooh, burn, Hamptons, burn. Angle from one of the bounty boats. The Marrow Channel, leading out port lies ahead. An incoming boat, Formula 22 inboard, outboard with 110 horsepower Volvo engines. A few of the smaller craft begin zigzagging to clear the right of way, their wakes causing annoying chop in the bay. Angle, incoming Formula 22, Matt Hooper, a bearded, backpacking young man, is at the helm, peering ahead at the ragtag armada. He ties up, revealing for the first time in a 7x4 steel foot cage in the stern, drawing some attention. Back to dockside, another man and his two buddies heft a trash can into one of the boats. He lifts the lid and the stench throws his head into a near whiplash.
What is this sewage?
For chum, let's move it.
What's chum?
Anything that attracts him. Brody looks over the dock rail at the boarding. 8 men have piled into a tiny Glastron and are now loading various and sundry weapons, from crossbows to spear guns. Brody walks over to the harbor master.
Isn't there a limit to how many men those boats will carry?
Sit down next to me, son, and we'll find out.
Closing on Gardner, exchanging distasteful looks with his mate. He is casting off the bow lines just as Felix and Pratt, 2 Down Island characters, run over.
Declaration. Okay, we go out with you.
Gardner quickly pushes off, leaving Felix with his boarding leg in the air. Hunt with the pack, sport. I'll fish for it my way. Felix and Pratt make obscene gestures for boats not yet filled to capacity, trying to make a deal. Angle at the landing, Hooper sees Brody up in arms about something, walking towards him. Hooper starts to speak, but Brody veers aside and yells over the pier at the loading boats.
Oh, Dynamite, hand that stuff over or you'll never leave port.
It's fireworks. I read somewhere it tracks them.
Sharks are equipped with 2 long cords of nerve tissue that function as a sort of radar for homing and underwater vibrations. Understand you're having a little shark problem. Trouble.
Brody turns and walks away, Hooper barely keeping up with
Whoa.
him.
I know you have a visitor off your southern shores. I think it could be my shark.
Belongs to whoever catches it. You'll move this car to a parking slot, mister. I won't be here when you get back.
Sir, I'm not with these other people.
It's always nice to meet an educated man.
I'm interning at the American Museum of Natural History, but the Oceanographic Research Institute in South Africa is co-sponsoring my thesis paper arm in arm with the Natural Institute of Health and the Marine Fisheries Service.
That was a mouthful. Well done, Jeremy. Brody pauses to look at the hard at Hooper. A careless amateur trips and falls into the harbor beyond him.
I don't have time to help you with your homework.
Brody goes over to lend a hand and Hooper persists.
I'm trying to prove that the shark that killed Christine Watkins last Friday was the same rogue that savaged these.
Hooper pushes a mimeographed sheet in front of Brody, about 20 names and addresses in all.
One shark did all this?
All right, okay. The trail of a rogue shark leads all over the world. This is only a theory. It has never been authenticated, but there is a wonderful chance that the shark that killed the Watkins girl and the man-eater I tagged off the Great Barrier Reef are one and the same. Off and on, I've tracked it to New Zealand, Santiago Bay, Cape Town, South Africa, the Gulf of Guinea, then West Palm Beach, Florida, last December, and finally predicted it would follow the warming Gulf Stream into the northern seasonal zones and release an attack pattern along the Jersey coast. I was off by just 300 miles. It hit you instead.
Well, pardon me if I don't help you get your PhD while my town here degenerates into some high-class ghost resort.
Brody starts away in the background. All boats are heading towards open ocean.
All I'm asking is for a little cooperation. I could predict future outbursts of attack activity in the area. Use me. Let me use you. I scored 93 on my orals, for crying out loud.
We've had 2 other attacks since the Watkins thing, both fatal. Could you kill it for us?
No, sir, I couldn't.
Then how do we begin to cooperate?
By letting me see Christine Watkins.
Exterior ocean day. The armada is spread out and moving in a ragged circle, 15 boats in all. One man heaves cherry bombs into the water. Cherry bomb! A smaller boat going in the opposite direction offers us Barwood forking spaghetti leftovers into the ocean while his friend pours out a bottle of ketchup. Because that's how you catch a shark.
Get out of the way, you goddamn fool, you.
A speedboat chugs by, one of the occupants reading instructions aloud from a book titled Sharks East Coast Volume 1. A boatload of impoverished scallop fishermen throw a net overboard full of gaps and split ends. The professionals look professional, but the landlubbers out for the $3,000 make it impossible for everybody. Collisions are barely averted. Interior, the Rube Goldberg error. The out-of-towner is a small boat and is bent over in life and death struggle. His rod in a tight arc, his buddy leaps across to lend a hand. 20 yards away in another boat, the same struggle ensues. This time, it's the overloaded boat with the poor scallop fisherman's shouts of, "I'm on! Dig in! Strike!" The entangle of tackle springs from the water. They have hooked each other, dumbasses. Joy turns to swearing. Arnold Felix stands up to applaud the mishap while his buddy Pratt takes a careful arm with his Remington 1100 12 gauge and blasts the tackle as if it were a clay pigeon. The tangle explodes. Both of the out-of-towners and the scallop fisherman falls over backward. The scallop boat swerves right in the bows, in the bows into an 11-foot glastron. A proud mariner standing in the stern with his 30.06 is knocked off the balance and pitches forward into the drink, his gun exploding outward, and the wad of shot from the exploding rifle hits the rigging of the passing boat, sending up the jibsail mains without 20 pounds of rigging on top of the bewildered occupants. Angle on Harry's boat. 3 men are aboard, holding a rod which holds a fast arc. A few yards off stern, we see a triangular dorsal fin. Guess that catch-up work. Crossing back and forth, struggling, jerking the mighty tail, thrashing One man is screaming success, the other two slapping an angler on the back. Close in on Pratt and Felix. They spot it and sour. Well, get over there. He ain't caught it yet. The owner of Pratt's boat throws it forward, and Pratt removes the .45 automatic from the holster in his belt. He tests it, firing one in the air as they near the scene of the struggle. 11 other boats begin converging until Harry's boat. Everyone wants to get into the act. They are attacking the threshing beast with all they've got. Pratt uses his automatic, another blast point blank into a shotgun. There are occasional water ricochets, and the bounty hunters duck from time to time as the bullets skip by. Finally, the shark stops threshing. Felix and Pratt, their boat has moved close to the shark, closer than Harry's. Hand me that pole, quick! One of his party in the overfilled boat grabs a gaff and leans out to grab the moribund shark, but Harry won't give up the line, still reeling it in.
Beat it. I hooked him.
How's the family, Harry? Go on, do it.
Split down the middle.
Pratt nods reluctantly, and the man swings, lodges the gaff, and hauls the shark up onto the gunwale. The paroxysm? Yeah, of cheers from the surrounding boat. Smoke flares and fired into the air. Let go my shark!
Let go my shark! I was taking a dramatic beat, y'all.
Sorry.
Let me go back. Let go my shark!
By the way, those glasses are perfect for the everyday fisherman. It is a 10-foot blue, what a mess, spattered with bullet punctures, gashes bleeding from several orifices. But it's not dead. It kicks back to life and threatens to capsize the boat. Pratt panics and fires 6 times in his .45. He shot him 10 times. The bullets pierced the shark's head, passed through, and split the fiberglass hole, through which flood of water rises. Everybody stands as the boat slips beneath them. These idiots. High angle from shore. On a hammock overlooking the cluster of boats stands Quentin. He is laughing out loud. I am definitely Quentin this moment. A sharp, piercing bark that has no real humor in it. Below, the circle of boats tighten around the spreading strain of crimson. I would have a drink in my hand as well. Interior morgue day. Hooper is measuring the bite marks on the Dayglow raft, which is calibrators? With his dial calibrators? Okay.
I'll look at her now if you don't mind.
Angle, Brody, Corner Santos, and Hooper. Hooper scribbles notes, then mumbles something inaudible into his pocket cassette recorder. Corner Santos looks to Brody plaintively.
That was a different sort of accident, as I told you.
Just let him.
The coroner hesitates and then walks to the ice chest and slides open the door. Close on Hooper. At first, his face registers shock. Then, with forced composure, Hooper steadies his hands and begins to take pictures with his Minolta.
I've heard the boat propeller story several times, and the nocturnal hatchet murder story, the dashed upon the razor coral story. The little boy was never found, was he?
Brody nods, looking down at his feet.
They're very successful creatures, sharks. 80 million years antiquity for the species of the great white. The family goes as far back as 300 million. Plenty of time to get good at what they do.
An attendant flies into the room, joyfully out of wind.
They called.
Oh, go ahead.
No, after you.
Oh, they called it from the dock, Mr. Brody. They got it. That's what happens when you're too slow. Close Super as he appears stunned. Damn it, Travis. And enjoying a lightheadedness he hasn't felt in weeks.
Want to see?
Exterior breakwater leading to the public bathing area. Day. A procession of 20 men dragging the shark by a tail rope from harbor to beach. Arrive at the beach meadows, takes charge, talks to both of his photographer and the bounty hunters.
I want a good one for under the headline, near the water. Get a group shot with the shark. Use it on page 1, 6 inches by 6 columns, center.
Some of the men have run ahead, happily knocking down some of Brody's no swimming signs.
Great. Bring one over here.
In the background, voices of laughter. Some joke about the big-time fisherman Jen Gardner, not even back yet. Others open beer, throw frosty cans around, making it look like a Miller's commercial for rednecks. Meadows position the shark and vigilantes.
Group around Charlie Tuna. That's right. No, leave it clear at back. Closer with the sign.
Brody and Hooper are seen approaching 50 yards up the beach.
Smile, boys. 1-3. Drop the sign. 1-3. Bill. 1, 2, 3. One more. Just the 2 prize winners.
I was hoping that awkward moment would go on. Click. Cheers.
One more. Just the 2 prize winners.
Mock groans as the posse moves aside. Pratt and Gaffer remain. One of the others raises the sign again for take 2.
I hooked him, you know?
And a little tighter, please, Harry.
The Gaffer doesn't fancy sliding up to the critter.
The fantasy.
It doesn't. I wanted to say Fanny. Have I mentioned I'm tired? Continue, Gaffer.
Better check this bastard.
Yeah, you better. He starts to poke it in the eye. Pratt on the other side leans forward for a closer look, gaff in hand. The Gaffer pokes the eye. The blue shark is wide awake. A vicious lunge in the opposite direction that snaps the gaff in Pratt's hand completely in half.
Christ! Ain't it dead?
Sorry, I didn't know if I said that. Ain't it dead? Right? I feel like more than one person shouts that. Pratt squeezes out a little smile and shuffles 8 feet to his right out of range. Hooper and Brody walk into the frozen tableau. Hooper walks over to the shark, eyeing it with both amusement and disappointment.
Yours?
No, this one's a blue.
I hooked him.
Is it the one?
Hooper unravels a lap thermometer on a long nylon cord, twirling it over his head like a lariat, finally hurling it out into the ocean. Then he unhooks the steel tape measure from his bag of tricks and spools out feet and inches from the shark's nose to tail.
It's sure big enough. 10.6 feet.
Who is this guy? Hooper is reeling in his thermometer.
The Institute of Sharks sent him down to lend a hand, Matt Hooper.
That's right, except he's half a day late now that I already done caught it. Hooper reading the thermometer.
I'm not so sure. Blue sharks pretty much operate on the warm water law and limit their attacks to 70 degrees and up. Ocean's 55.
Who is this guy?
Great white's body temperature in the lateral musculature is almost 18 degrees above whatever the temperature of the water. I don't know if this is our bite culprit.
If you'd seen the fight he put up, you'd shut up, pal. He ate a 9-year-old boy yesterday morning, and the bastard can, goddamn it, this is my shark. Hooper removes it from its sheath in the meanest 14-inch hunting knife Pratt has ever seen.
Only one way to know for sure. And since it's not my shirk, it's not my shirk. Not anybody's shirk because it's a shark. I'm not sticking up in the belly to see what portion of the
It's
belly
not your
is
shirt.
inside. Am I?
Groans are heard from the bounty hunters, some of whom start to turn away. Close in on Brody, uncomfortable and queasy at the thought of it. Close in on Pratt. He wraps his hands behind him in defiance of the preferred blade. Well, shit, this guy caught it with me. Harry over there hooked it. Angle back to Harry, who starts to whistle up to the clouds. Back to Hooper as he poises the knife himself towards the underbelly and...
Not here, Mr. Hooper.
He's big enough, all right, but I still can't be sure until...
The boy's mother.
Point of view, Mayor Vaughn, Mrs. Kinter, sorry guys, and father are approaching. Mrs. Kinter is draped in black mourning and never utters a sound. She lifts her veil, walks 2 paces forward, and spits down at the shark Takes 2 paces back and replaces the veil, recovering her poise.
This it?
I won't know until I perform a full autopsy.
It's actually
Who's
called a
this kid?
necropsy.
A cropsy.
Who's this kid?
He's a fish expert from the Oceanographic Foundation.
Well, doesn't take much of an expert to see that this is the biggest, ugliest, meanest looking shark ever hooked around Amity Island. Who caught her?
This guy, Pratt, and me.
$1,000 a piece is not a bad day's haul.
Continued. Vaughn Briggs shaking hands with the 3 winners begins shaking hands with the 3 winners, and Meadows snaps some bonus pictures. Mrs. Kinter's father draws close by Brody and Vaughn, handing Vaughn a card from his pocket.
At whatever the cost, my daughter has requested that all preparations be made to ship this animal to her hometown of Marblehead, Mass. Can you accommodate us?
What the devil for?
Nary a blink from the old man, and Vaughn looks to Hooper, weighing the alternative.
Well, see it through, Mr. Sands. Martin, you start collecting those signs and keep your friend away from that demon with his pig sticker there. Let's show some respect for the loss we've incurred. Get the story on the state wire. Try to get AP and UPI to pick it up in New York or Boston to put it on the national. Call Dave Axelrod in New York and tell him this is from me. He owes me.
Angelon father and Mrs. Kintner walking up the beach with Pratt Harry and the gaffer following behind. Brody kneels next to the shark, making a face at the wafting stench.
Some field you picked.
Well, there's dolphins, but they don't talk too much. Huh? Huh?
I see you. Enter your radio room, Coast Guard Station number 4, evening. One man is at the radio, a laundry white officer walks towards Brody.
Hey, can't seem to raise you your Officer Gardner, Mr. Gardner. Maybe his radio was out, or he could have put in somewhere else.
He would have called his wife.
They walk out together into an eerie dusk fog.
No point setting up a plane, huh?
I'll get a patrol boat on it. If you'd like to go.
I don't do so hot on boats.
Well, we'll contact you if there is any.
Listen,
Brody, sharks are always around. Blues, browns, makos, thousands.
can't you just get rid of one for us?
Where is it? How do we find it? It shouldn't come around again. Like, odds are worse on the highways.
But you could protect that beach. I mean, you have access to.
We could put up a show. We could give you spotters, but in where the waves break, the water's cloudy and it's very hard to spot. Well, we could string out shark repellent. Sometimes it's effective, but then sometimes, I mean, hey.
What do I do then? Pray for lousy weather?
Yeah, we're just the Coast Guard, Brody. Wow.
Brody walks into the fog until he disappears. Slow angle, Lighthouse. Brody walking away from the station, and Lighthouse preoccupied with a dozen alternative thoughts. A shattering blast from the foghorn catches him unprepared, and he nearly comes out of his skin. Hands clasped to his ears, he passes a sign that can be barely seen through the fog. Warning! Foghorn can be damaging to your hearing. Yeah, thanks for that warning. Exterior, front porch and Brody's house, night. Hooper is having after-dinner dessert with Alan, I want dessert, and Martin Brody, while his spectacular heat lightning display colors the night clouds and dances on the water miles out.
There's good things to be said about meshing. It's worked in Australia for years. Repellent's a myth. Now there's a cable available charged with 7,000 amps that can be strung along with the entire bathing area.
We have Kahlua, Mr. Hooper.
Matt, please. And I don't drink alcohol, but thank you. We think the great whites possess an electrical sense.
Michael walks in. He doesn't smile after the Saturday incident. He is quite dry this evening, and his possession of ghastly watercolors of sharks tearing a man in two. Typical kid.
Mrs. Pfister had us all draw sharks in school today.
I told you not to wear that crackerjack ring. It's too big. You're gonna catch it on something and lose a finger.
This is a very good rendering, Mike. Looks like a thresher. Where'd you learn to draw him?
I cheated and found pictures in one of Dad's books.
Getting bitten by the subject or just morbid curiosity?
More in the spirit of the public interest.
Mrs. Pfister says if we have a bad season, we could sell our pictures to the tourists. We get to paint through American history again tomorrow.
Ellen and Brody exchange worried looks. Hooper digs around in his pocket for something, then looks through his satchel purse. You want me to speak to her tomorrow? Hooper hands Michael a shark's tooth on a wire necklace.
I picked this up in Macau. There's supposed to be a superstition about these things that if you keep it with you, you'll be safe from shark bite.
Michael smiles for the first time, and a warm moment passes between him and Hooper. It's
I gotta show this to Goober.
I'll sleep with that on, son. You'll cut something in the night.
Oh, Dad.
That was nice. Michael hasn't smiled since his birthday party and that Kinter accident.
Was a witness?
Yeah, listen, I'm no crack meteorologist, but I think we're in store for some surf.
Hope not. I'm longlining in the morning. You should come along, Martin.
In case you haven't caught the island gossip, I never take baths, just showers.
Aquaphobia or what? Mind if I smoke?
No, here, wait.
Brody takes out a lighter as Hooper puts a twisted cigarette in his mouth. Instead of inhaling, Hooper takes a long high, and it doesn't. Oh, hit. That would make more sense. There was a hole punch there, and it doesn't take long for the shock to beat the aroma to where Ellen and Martin sit.
I'm going to try and snag the old boy with 3 32 of an inch stainless steel aircraft cable.
I could throw your ass in jail for that.
Brought my own cage, thanks. If this really is my shark, he's got a Peterson disc tag on his anal fin. That's his butt, and it can be seen from a boat.
Once hooked, what then?
Hooper brightens and reaches into his duffel, pulling out a shiny stainless steel object about the size of an alarm clock.
Biotelemetry. It's a radio collar. I bell the cat and then follow him anywhere. I'm trying to make a deal with the satellite tracking station at Houston, Texas.
Now let's wait a minute. You have him hooked, right?
Well, I'll never take him without a fight, but
And you stick that cigarette case to his neck?
that's the game plan.
Then you let it loose. You let it go free.
Hooper sees where this has arrived. He swallows the roach and takes a breath.
I know what you're saying, Martin.
Your little lab experiment has seen 3 innocent people killed over the past 3 days.
Martin, it's not his shark.
And your list makes me sick. You carry it around with you like you're keeping score.
Nature has no conscience, Mr. Brody.
Oh, Christ. Whose side are you on? You told me you'd help us get rid of it.
What I said was I'd help predict future attacks in your area. If this device works, the early warning to other shorefront resorts, not just here, but anywhere in ranges in the world,
I don't give a crap about your worldwide conquest. What about right here? This town is going under today. Where's your humanity? You could kill that thing for us, flatten its ass, and
I'm staying at the Abelard Arms. That is where I will be.
Is it? Okay, Hooper gathers his things and climbs into his backpack. How big is his backpack? Anyway, he smiles at Ellen and kisses her hand. Ellen smiles, not yet recovered from embarrassment.
I really like dinner.
Ellen leaves, looks at her hand. Brody turns and sees her. Nobody kisses hands anymore. Where's the romance gone, Brody?
if you stick
Where's
that
the
wet
romance
spot
gone?
on the black light at the Coney Island Aquarium, they'll let you in for nothing.
Exterior aboard Hooper's boat, foggy day. The boat is slicing, gentle swells into the flat water. Hooper is mainlining from a big reel. Tuna halibut clips attached to each of the lines that bear hooks and floats every 10 yards. Large bait chunks are tossed into the water, and the boat with him is Meadows, huddled in a corner and trying to appear eager to learn. Hooper is not cooperating. He storms around, upset and frustrated. Meadows.
Travis.
I'm not Meadows.
You've been Meadows the
Damn it, Travis, you have
I'm gonna be Meadows now.
I'll do it. Fine. shit,
No, I'll be Meadows. No, calm down. I'll be Meadows. Okay, that's the second species of shark on your dangerous list.
Travis. Hooper opens the throttle half speed, looking into the sonar display that casts a green glow in the soupy weather. A blip appears on the screen and draws speculative hum from Hooper.
Fish activity?
Very deep. Looks like a school of fish. Mackerel. Really clumped together.
I've eaten mackerel before.
As the two huddle together in the green spill, Hooper touches the throttle to increase speed, still slightly puzzled.
Staying right with us.
Insert sonar activity.
And didn't you say activity stops if any of those whoppers are around?
Tends to. It's very still down there.
Close in on Meadows. Looks up from the scope. His expression turns to horror.
Look out!
Hooper looks up in time to avert near collision with Ben Gardner's boat, the Flicka. It is completely awash with water in the cockpit right up to the gunwales. The seat cushions and hatch covers float about, banging and thumping. The boat is wallowing, and it seems that, given a touch more weight, it will sink.
That's Ben Gardner's boat. That's Ben Gardner's.
I just
Ben.
Again.
Ben Gardner.
Just the more I let it go, the more awkward it gets. It's amazing. Hooper comes alongside, cuts his engine, and goes forward to tie his bow line to a forward cleat on the Flicka. Insert sonar scope. Bigger blips, both visually and audibly. Taking note of this, Hooper stands a moment trying to figure out what could have done this. There doesn't seem to be any damage fore or aft. Then he notices that one of the aft cleats on the Flicka has been torn away. There are scars on the wood where the screws used to hold the cleats down.
He must have hit something. I'm sure they had life belts on board. Life belt.
Hooper nods towards the water, angle in on the water. We see the life belts and jackets floating in the unearthly stillness. Hooper, wide. He gingerly steps onto the rail of the Flicka, peeks into the cockpit and cabin. Awash. No sign of life. He puts more weight down as he cranes his neck further, and the whole boat lists to one side. Hooper leaps back onto his own. Another angle, Hooper's boat. He opens a locker and pulls out a wetsuit and other gear.
Maybe we should just tow it in.
Better see the damage first.
Insert sonar scanner. Blip, blip, blip. Closing on Meadows. Suddenly cold, unzips his windbreaker and turns the collar up as Hooper zips up his wetsuit and clasps on a weighted belt.
Did he have a dinghy on board?
I don't know.
Hooper hyperventilates as he places on a mask, checks his hot flashlight.
I'd rather we just tow it in, Mr. Hooper.
Hooper finishes hyperventilating, smiles to reassure him.
Be up in a minute.
He's ready to go, but hesitates a moment, staring out at the sea. The first time Hooper has appeared to be doubting his next move. He shakes it off, takes a huge breath, lets out half and splashes in. Anglon Meadows, all alone in the boat. Just he and the active sonar. He checks the secondhand sweep of his watch, counting out loud. The underwater sequence, Hooper. Hooper descends in a froth of bubbles. Warily, he turns a full circle in his hot light. Is that a swim cap? That's amazing! Jeremy, I love you. At first, we see nothing out of place but the Flicka, except that it is lying so low in the water. But as Hooper travels to the bottom looking for damage, he comes across a jagged hole 2/3 of the way forward. The hole is about the size of a basketball, and the wood around it has been bashed and splintered. Hooper explores the hole with his hands and then takes the knife from its sheath and begins to dig at something. Whatever it is comes free into his hand. As he studies his find, his light wanders upwards, pointing directly into the dark hole. Hooper looks up. Closing on the hole, Ben Gardner's dead face stares out through the hole in the flicka, eyes and mouth gaping in frozen horror, his skin pinched like a prune. Closing on Hopper, bumps his head and trying to get away. He seems to yell through escaping bubbles. His mask fills with the water as he flails for the surface. Miscalculating, he bumps into the hull of his own boat, scrambles around it, finally coming between the two boats, gulping air, unable to speak yet, shocked and scared, out of breath.
Dad?
All Hooper can do is hold out his hand open for Meadows to see. A shiny white tooth and at least 2 inches long rests the palm of his hand.
A white. It's a great white. I knew it. Looks like he died of fright in there.
No shark did that to a boat.
Hooper rolls up his sleeve with one stroke of the tooth, shaves all the hair off his forearm.
One this big can do anything.
Dun dun dun! Meadows will never be the same. Interior Vaughn's realty office day. On the run and seeing red, Larry Vaughn speed walks out of his office, grabbing his boat out of the door, cuss mumbling all the way. Meadows, still in his boat clothing, appears behind him, his tie undone and is sweating. Vaughn jumps into his car, and just before Meadows can open the passenger door and take off in it. Exterior Island Highway day. Just under the roadside billboard, Hendricks and another deputy joiner prepare for a climb with ropes in their arms, paint cans, and large canvas brushes. Beyond them, a few feet away, stand Brody and Hooper, watching Vaughn pacing back and forth, sucking on a Havana. What? He has a newspaper in his right hand, and Hooper is sketching on a sketch pad.
Says here, it is caught. Period.
Brody holds out a 2-inch tooth.
Mr. Hooper figured its size from this. It's over a ton. It's also over.
Put that rotten thing. Yow.
Hooper steps over to show him his sketch.
My hand gets infected.
Meet Carcharodon carcharius.
What is it?
The shark that just bit you on the hand. And this is you.
Hooper has sketched the reduced ratio figure of Vaughn with a cigar standing in front of the jaws. He looks like a dwarf by comparison.
17 feet from anterior to posterior.
No shark grows 17 feet, for Christ's sake.
The famous Swedish naturalist Linnaeus believed that the great fish that swallowed Jonah was not a whale, but a great white shark.
Love to prove that, wouldn't you? Get into the National Geographic.
What should we do about this great white?
Hooper has come prepared. He takes from his backpack a Bomar brain calculator and ticks away at it while talking.
The longer there's nothing to munch on here, the better your chances he'll go. That means, of course, keeping your beaches closed, your fishermen in port. The other alternative is non-corrosive, 100 gauge steel mesh, say 30,000 feet of it around your bathing area. Concrete blocks and installation would run you, $4,000-$5,000? That is, unless you could seek a deputation from the federal government. Beats getting swallowed, doesn't it?
Vaughn is apoplectic. I cannot say that word. That word should be banned from the dictionary. His seemingly dead cigar glows again. He takes Brody by the arm and leads him out of earshot of Hooper.
Maybe we can make it up in August.
Beach will be open on the 4th of July, damn it.
We have to give this a couple weeks.
Days. And that's bad enough. I'll have to think of some reason that'll keep the grease from frying. In the meantime, I want that shark killed. Either do it yourself or hire a pro. But go door to door with the offer. No more of this bounty crap. And Brody.
Vaughn gestures up the billboard. The beautiful model splashing in the golden surf with flailing arms has been significantly reinterpretive. Some pranksters have painted a huge dorsal fin cutting through the waves next to her, and she now looks like a hysterical beachgoer stampeding out of the water. Deputies begin covering it over with paint. People have been gathering throughout the scene on bicycles and a few station wagons.
First the picket fences, and now this. I want to see those little bastards hanging upside down by the Buster Brown's shoes.
Vaughn storms away before Brody can report. Exterior dock day. Hooper is loading some mainline floats and smelly bait fish on board. Two young long hairs are assisting him. The old harbor master dips his coffee percolator into the water and rinses it thoroughly while watching Hooper load. He rises to his feet and walks across the pier, looking in the opposite direction, about 3 slips away. Angle on a hidden ship. Ooh, is it the Black Pearl? Brody and Deputy Hendricks are supervising another loading activity. 6 local fishermen are converting their 16-foot fiberglass double outboard into a gunboat. A sealed crate of high concussion palm-sized depth charges gingerly finds a place on the bow section. Fucking English, man. Over which fishing gear and nets are positioned to disguise the mission.
Don't let him out of your sight, not for a second. Stay at a discreet distance. And damn it, Lenny, no shark talk. The way sound carries over water, you're a dead giveaway.
Who's with him?
Local hire. I don't know. I want to hear from you, Len.
Exterior picket fence row day. Angling down a stretch of picket fence, little karate cries are accompanied by little flat hands piercing through the splintering wood. Ha! 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 Exterior Main Street day. The hardware store proprietor, bored and withdrawn, suns himself on a chaise lounge, surrounded by summer surplus that no one is buying. While the Amity Gift Shop and Candle Shop is offering an outside display on a carousel postcard rack of artificial shark tooth necklaces, along with an open-air gallery of shark books. A dozen tourists bunch up as business booms here today. That's a dick move. Interior Brody's office day. Ellen is somehow mired behind Brody's desk, 2 travel folders. In her absent-minded grasp, she talks into one phone at the same time she's talking onto another. Breathy, tricky landlady, all of this overlapping. Brody's secretary, Polly, is in the outer office doing 3 things at once. I don't know where my husband is, Mr. Kretzler.
First it's
He's only
24
close to
hours,
beaches.
then it's 2
For your
days. If
safety.
one more guest of mine leaves for Cape Cod, I'll start a petition.
Yes, hi. You're there. Ouch, not on my arm. From the outer office, we hear.
Until further notice, you'll have to ask him about that when he gets back. Goodbye.
3 people enter, 2 of them an elderly white tourist couple, push past Polly into Brody's office where Ellen stands beside the desk.
Excuse me. I see the papers. They caught the killer shark. I see by the signs that the beaches there are still closed, and we were kind of wondering.
I think it's a wonderful positive sign that our times to see a woman chief of police in a nice place like. Ellen removes the receiver from her ear, from which an angry geese-like sound filters through. She starts to explain. Instead bursts out laughing in one of those spontaneous funny cries for help that leaves you weak. She falls over helplessly into her husband's swivel chair, covering her face with Acapulco brochures. Interior Quint's resident night. Entering Quint's abode is not unlike any spooky ride at Disneyland. Haha, the placement of objects, a dungeon lighting, the tendrils of smoke and dust in the air make a visitor wish he were carrying a 100-pound watt bulb. There is gear everywhere. The walls are adorned with jerky. Sorry, they're like cats going crazy. I lost my place. The galley stove leaks to hold 2 weeks worth of filthy dishes, tubes, barrels, rods, reels, harpoons, an antique gun collection, and a ditzy array of shark hooks line the walls. One entire wall is dedicated to a collection of laminated jaws from the blue shark to the great white. Conspicuously in the center of the room is a swivel fighting chair, and it looks like the perfect place to have all your teeth pulled. Oh, lovely, into this orifice. Not a good enough reason to use the word of orifice. Of decay, Brody enters. From his point of view, we see Quint hunched over a tub of steaming borax.
I know it's late, Mr. Quint.
Quint lifts ghastly set of dripping jaws from the solution.
Snappy little novelty item.
Quint demonstrates by holding them up to frame his face through the round, jagged opening.
Picture frame, toilet seat.
He looks up at his gallery of jaws.
No offense, you guys. Very touchy. All set for Hallelujah chorus and stuck on the first note.
Brody enters the room like he's treading on hot charcoal.
I would have called you.
Quint walks towards Brody with borax dripping from both hands. He places one of them hospitably on Brody's shoulder.
Sure you would, sweetheart.
And ushers him into the fighting chair. He then busies himself around the premises, and Brody must use the swivel chair to follow him, feeling chills whenever Quint moves behind him.
I'm Chief Brody, Mr. Quint.
Suits me. I'm a social undesirable myself.
Listen,
Me and your great big white.
who told you?
What's the count up to down there anyway? You can't have much of a town left.
I got Ben Gardner this time.
Ben? Sharks will eat anything.
I need to talk to you, Quint.
Quint slips past Brody's blind spot to the opposite wall, and Brody tenses and swivels too fast, almost spinning 360 degrees before breaking with his feet.
Anything. Know what I found inside that tiger? Aside from fish and all?
He proudly moves to the shelf full of jaws and souvenirs collected from the bellies of sharks.
20 feet of cable, half an army cot, 4 brass buttons, a cocker spaniel, license plate, dripping dry shirt, and a 6-pack of Diet Pepsi.
We can't have this damn thing sneaking in.
Chief! Show a little respect. Jesus, what? Whites are head of the mob out there. This sounds like a Lucky Luciano.
You ever caught one?
13-footer and 115 teenagers.
Now you're asking $10,000, but look,
Chief. Forget it. I get 2 bills a day from charters. I sell the hides, I sell the teeth, I sell the fins, 2 cheeks for soup. You ought to dry a little shark sometime. Hammerhead's terrific here.
Can't believe you said that word, Travis. Quint hops into the oven, an avalanche of pots and pans burst to smoke, and before you know it, Quint is presenting Brody with a hot plate.
Home fried hammerhead.
Brody turns away from the sink.
Sorry, nothing fancier tonight, boy. I do Mako Provencal.
Provincial?
Provincial. I'm not French.
how's 400 a day, Quint?
Quint is suddenly across the room, lowering a bucket in front of Brody.
Serve yourself, Chief. Shark liver oil, best lubricant in the world.
How much do you want?
How much do I want? Well,
Okay, so he walks over to a cage with a parrot in it.
clowns trying to bargain?
I came on my own, Quint.
Yo, and a bottle of rum. Ho, ho, ho.
See if we could make a deal tonight.
Here's what the price is tonight, Chief.
Quint stalks Brody as he talks. Brody, trying to look reasonable as he backs around the room, bumping into objects.
25 grand to go for it, plus 25 more if I land it. All repairs on the boat and on me. A new board from Hades in London, a life subscription to Playboy, the stereo 4-track, and the color TV.
Quint, you know they'll never.
Let me finish. If it gets me different deals, 75, no extras.
75 for who?
For nobody, to make this place a museum or something. Quint's Monster Palace. Why the fuck? How's that maybe have me suffer in the middle here? In the middle here.
Quint poses stuffed with a harpoon in the middle of the room. This is his first time he has stopped moving.
I have to tell them something reasonable.
Brody looks for the door, completely disoriented. He tries to open one of the walls.
No problem. Tell him that joke from World War II about the Marines and Landon's barge. Sergeant splashes right and yelling, "Hit the beach, men! Follow me!" And
Quint taps the bottom of the birdcage without losing a beat. The parrot squawks in falsetto. Brah! Watch out for shark! Brah! Brody has found the door and is gone. The door swings in a breeze And Quint turns to his gallery of jaws and smiles with mock courtly bow. Exterior docks dusk. Cooper's Formula 22 tying up in his rented slip. He looks dog-tired as he steps off and stretches his legs on dry land. It's like he's the mariner. The most astonishing thing about Matt this evening is obvious disappointment. The gunboat is also tied up, and the men unloading. They're in terrific spirits. Each has caught his limit. The boat is filled with fish, the men with stories. Only Len Hendricks shows the strain. Angle on Brody. Yes, you did, Travis. Riding up on his police bicycle, he sees Hendricks 50 yards away in the dust. Shaking his head, Brody turns and rides down the dock towards Hooper, saying goodbye to his day help.
Any luck?
Might be for you, Mr. Brody. I think it's all over.
How can you be sure?
The sea is full of fish again. For one thing, you won't find sea life in the territory of a great white. All the fish we saw in the ocean today, you'd think they were celebrating. I played low-frequency music underwater. That usually works faster than blood.
Are you feeling okay?
There are signals in the water. I can always read them, and the currents are shifting.
Vaughn's going to want a statement. What about taking precautions?
I take them, sure. Lookout posts, an alarm system. If you can afford picket boats equipped with sonar repellent line across the bathing area. Jesus, we must have gone 6 times around this crummy island.
And you're sure it's...
You'll never be immune to attack. It knows where you live now. Good night.
Brody's left alone on the dock, and the sky is darkening behind him. Interior ferryboat day. 2 cavernous iron doors. The crack of a vertical light as 6 burly crewmen muscle them apart. The Amity ferry is landing is approaching. People in colorful outfits waiting dockside for the first filled-to-capacity shuttle on the summer season. And Back's little fuge is a music accompaniment to this wholly visual montage of disembarkation. The next 2 minutes should be treated like a short film, taking into account of all the colors, episodes, faces, and behavior of a variety of Americans who colonize eastern resort communities for the 90-day season. A train of cars tumble down the ramp, bumper to bumper. B, young, beautiful people from Princeton, Yale, NYU, etc., etc., etc. Babies, papoose rigs, energizing children, people of all kinds, basically. C, sidewalk vendors, hawking balloons, kitties, hot dogs, fried clams, Italian ices. The Amity Cab Company, small blue Toyotas run by students on vacation, queued up like a bomber wing. Hooper is watching. Station wagons with pale winter faces pressed against anxiously to the windows. Cadillacs with rear admirals at the helm. Their wives with blue hair, remembering the way from the years before, continued. The 6 blonde and tan Coney Island meatballs descend the ramp. They wear all men's club lifeguard patches and matching collegiate windbreakers. They scour the landing looking for someone to save. Oh, I need help. The boat is empty. Everybody heading inland, anticipating the best 4th of July ever. Already there is the debris on the docks and the cleaning crew working away at it. Let's see here inside the ferry. That's how you spell it? Whatever. Or say it. As Bach's little song ends, the 6 burly crewmen lean their combined weight against the cathedral doors, closing out light and locking in the trade. The doors let shut with a closing clang. Exterior Coast Guard Station Day. A young ensign is demonstrating Shark Chaser to Brody from Concrete Pier. He lowers a canister of it into the water, and a dark cloud begins to diffuse.
You need about 150 of those, 12 feet apart behind you, surf line. We have to string them right across. Let's say 2,000 feet.
Makes a sort of long black curtain,
Repellent.
but it doesn't always work.
Well, it inhibits them, Mr. Brody. The astronauts use it.
That and Tang.
I loved Tang. Exterior Amity Main Street Day. If you lifted out any hunk of midday Manhattan intersection and set it here on a colonial corners of Main Street and Pilgrimage Way, you couldn't do worse. This is what Amity feeds on between July and September. This is what the tourists pick over between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. This is what it's all about. Interior of the movie house. Evening marquee lights go on. Moby Dick is the new substitute feature offering. Pan down to show the theater manager and boiling, pacing Larry Vaughn.
I want this off before the weekend. And if it's not,
Well, I thought with all this interest, I mean, it's not a documentary, and no, I mean, hey.
Interior movie house, full screen. Gregory Peck as Captain Ahab is out in an outpouring of classic Melville. The white whale explodes through the waves and crushes 16 harpooners. Harpooners. I need sleep. A single sandpapery laugh accompanies each special effect. Quinn sits in the center aisle, popcorn and the jujube stuffing his face. The splayed protection beams dance around his head as he roars with amusement. People are getting up and moving away from him. He is watching with delight, slapping his thigh, dumping the seat back with his feet. Never living that down. Full movie screen as we watch Ahab gets tangled with the line and dragged under by the whale. Quint can be heard over. Exterior South Beach, the 4th of July. The 4-foot surfers swell and curls crashes on the shore. Riderless hot dog stands and ice cream vendors are everywhere. Lifeguard stations are all over the place. At sea, a bunch of boats, pleasure darts, repellent line further out, crossing back and forth, patrol boats, 6 or 7. Top it all off, Coast Guard blimp floats 300 feet above, onshore. Crunch of gawkers makes life miserable for a mobile TV crew on their van-shaped unit. A graduate from Columbia School Broadcasting has interviewed Martin Brody in front of dozens of camera-conscious kids. Will you be going in for a dip, Chief?
No, I'll be sticking to business today. As you see, we have spotters up and down the beach, and out there's the Coast Guard, state police, county police. Everyone's cooperating on this.
Are they using harpooners? And the question is if it's so unlikely as you seem to think.
Never hurts to play it safe.
Thank you, Chief. Let's do a group at the hot dog stand. I want hot dogs. Vaughn is watching the ocean, aware that nobody is in yet. He turns in the direction of Selectman and his family. After grunting hellos, falls on his haunches and talks through a dogged smile.
Will you please get in that ocean?
What?
Nobody's going in. Move. Them too.
He gets up gesturing, go in, to another townsman, and the selectman gathers his senses, follows back and nagging the nerves. How about swim gang, huh? Not you, you have a cold. Vaughn spies out Hooper alone and on the sand in his trunks, looking out to sea. The selectman and his family of 4 start into the ocean as Vaughn approaches Hooper.
You've earned a day off, Doc, and thank you. We feel you've done a heck of a job, you know.
I feel the same about you.
Engel, selectman, and his family. They walk into the surf deeper and deeper until a wave washes over their heads. The selectman surfaces and realizes he's wearing a watch. Uh-oh, never mind. Follows suit and begin to trickle to the white surf. Boat number 2, 4 state police with their 30.6s stowed discreetly under their seats as a bearing. State policeman talks to Brody on the walkie-talkie. We notice boat number 5 is a short-range speedster working the repellent line.
I'm putting the fresh cans on, Brody. Come down, will ya? Want a beer? By a beer, I mean a bottle of vodka.
Boat number 5, 2 men in a boat load of canisters. One holds up the nylon repellent line with a pole as the other replaces a can and shouts back.
I want a pair of rubber gloves.
To demonstrate what he means, he holds up 2 hands black with dye. The wet can of Budweiser tumbles onto one of them. Sailor's walkie-talkie squawks like a strangled chicken.
Daisy to blimp. Daisy to blimp. 30 yards off my port side.
2 sailors turn to port. Boat 7. Hendricks is on the radio while Coast Guard spotter works on the sonar. Anything? Thought I saw a shadow over. Pan to the water. Interior blimp. Breathtaking view. A blimp spotter looks down with a naked eye and binoculars.
Nothing from up here, Daisy. Over.
False alarm. Must be this glare. He is watching Engel on the beach close on Brody. He's watching down on the beach, threading his way through the happy hordes.
Who's scared to go in? I was in, up to my knees. Yeah, so come in with me. I'll go again. How far? Etc., etc.
A group of youngsters, I love how you said et cetera, et cetera. A group of youngsters played with Michael, Brody, Stingy. They're hauling it towards the surf.
Hey, Mikey,
Michael turns as Brody trots towards him.
you're not going to the ocean with that, are you, son?
I'm all checked out for light surfing. Look at it.
Do me this favor just once. Use the ponds.
Dad, the ponds are for the old ladies.
Just a favor for your old man.
Sure, Dad.
Swimmers and surfers. A surfer waving to impress his girlfriend on the beach. He dives off his board and swims around the black dye.
Not so close to the line, please.
The 18-year-old surfer submerges and comes up all inky. His girlfriend laughs, impressed. TV crew near the water, clowning, posing for the cameras. Dozens of youngsters riding baby waves, stand on their heads, blah, 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 burning film, zooming. Repellent line, surfer and county policeman. The surfer won't leave the area.
Ah, well, get clear of the repellent line, son.
Suddenly his voice, the walkie-talkie fizzes and the blimp spotter's voice overloads the speaker.
Blimp to Daisy. Red 4, red 4.
Boat 7, Hendricks, guns are up, heads turning everywhere. Where?
Went under. There.
The Coast Guard sonar operator spots it and impales. A slick black dorsal fin is slicing away towards the swimming area.
Jesus Christ, shark 350.
Oh, he's a baby shark. Da 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 da, baby shark. Da 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 da. Rigid and choked, he almost breaks the send button trying to transmit.
Everybody out of the water, please. Leave the water, please.
Hooper is on his feet. The lifeguard next to him begins blowing on the whistle, closing on Brody, shouting hysterically into his walkie-talkie.
No whistles, no whistles.
The beach. Dozens of bathers halfway out of the water turn to see more whistles and they start towards show. The loud hailer sounding more urgent now, and the contagious dread seizes one person after another. Entire groups of people begin pulling towards the shore, some of them obviously trying to control a growing hysteria in others. Boats 6 and 7 are converging, heading towards the repellent line as if tracking an underwater shadow. The fin is beyond the repellent cordons and heading into the crowds. Snack time! The water bathers. People begin screaming. Kids are suddenly separated from their parents. Others seem to forget how to swim. One myopic little girl has her glasses bumped off. Oh no, and she begins to cry in blinded panic. Mommy! Boats 2, 3, and 4. The riflemen in the boats are trying to get a bead, but too many civilians create a hazard. The Coast Guardsmen attempt to sever the repellent cord to gain access to the bathing area and the heaving fin. The water bathers. This is a confirmation of our worst dread. A full-blown headlong water panic. Screaming vacationers claw their way over the bodies of the less able. Some literally attempt to walk over the bobbing heads, glistening backs of others, pulling for dry land. Horrified faces everywhere. Some are stunned and wandering in slow, tentative circles, while others are helped out by friends. 5 people try to mount a rubber raft. Ugly reminders that each of us is number 1. Brody enters the shot, yelling into his walkie-talkie. Hooper charges past him to help an old man out of the water. He returns to pull several others to their feet. Hooper keeps plunging and dragging the helpless from the surf. Tears well in Brody's eyes. The screaming is deafening. The TV unit pushes past Brody.
Zoom in, over there.
1,000 survivors pack the beach, standing absolutely still. A numbing cold sets in and people shiver against each other. Muted sobs, whimpering, coughing. The 6 burly lifeguards huddled together like Cub Scouts. Not so cool now, are ya, bras? Bathing area. Monster's black fin turns a slow circle as 2 Coast Guardsmen manage to cut their own repellent line. All boats converge on the dynamic fin. Men raise their guns to fire. Others ad-lib nautical commands in a uniquely calculated fashion. Close in on the fin. Dun, dun. It slips sideways, revealing for the first time a tiny blue snorkel. Then appears the faces of 2 youngsters, of whom we will recall from the coven behind the dune, little dicks. The fin bobs back, and a beaver board replica attached to it, particularly submerged surfboard. One youngster looks up and is greeted by a youngster's point of view. Yeah, it was definitely Travis in that water. 20 rifles and shotguns pointed directly at him, surrounding him on 3 sides. Some of the policemen start to lower their guns, struck dumb. Close in on one youngster's only defense, he begins to cry. He feebly raises his hands in unconditional surrender. Yeah, you should, you little dick. Angling on the estuary, a narrow estuary leading into a half mile is rough today. Two children digging in the sand, unaware of the beach panic. 100 yards away, look up and the little girl points. A black dorsal fin is cruising through the narrows towards the busy pond. Angle on the pond. Michael is tacking full sail in his boat with his friend Kit. Kit is admiring the shark's tooth necklace around his own neck while Michael rubs some water on the scratches left by it. A fin, a huge black and reel, crosses behind them. They are not yet aware. The fin seems to circle and return. It heads towards Michael's boat when another small dinghy gets in its way. A weekend novice just finishing the thermos of coffee when he is bumped. The entire boat is overturned. Michael sees the fin now as it collides with him, and the entire bow is lifting out of the water and rolling over to the port side. Michael and Kit are thrown headfirst. 3 heads in the water come sputtering, and the fin between them crossing back. Michael freezes. The fin comes directly at him, growing into the sky, passing him so close he could touch it, but ignoring him as it follows the flailing and panicked weekend Navi. Catches him. Michael watches that all too familiar explosion in the water, choked off scream, the head of the upper torso of the novice passing Michael swiftly as though being carried off in a current of blood trailing behind. The renewed cry of "Shark! Smash pond!" He turns. Oh God! Brody's running through the slogging sand. Close on the Coast Guardman and picket boat.
Block the estuary.
3 boats racing to carry out the orders. The Blackfin passing 2 children racing to get out. One rowboat reaches the mouth before the others. The fin won't veer off. It smacks into the little vessel, tearing off the bow and beaching it in its wake, racing to open water. Blood leavings. Close in on Hooper. He's pulling Michael out of the water as Brody runs up. Michael is conscious but in shock, his eyes staring at nothing.
He's in shock. Get blankets.
People gather. Brody snatches beach towels out of their hands. They cover Michael and carry him off the beach, feet raised above his head.
I can read signals in the water. When they're around, when they leave. I saw the signals. It moved on. They reported an attack up the coast toward Ipswich, Maine. Today. Oh, Jesus, Martin. I'm sorry.
Interior, Quince hits. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Blares from the new stereo. Barbara Walters. Blares from the new color TV. Brody has the look of a man who's gone without sleep for 2 days. He slouches in the fighting chair, watching Quint, who is showing Salvatore towards the door.
You know, which can's stupid? The whale meat. Get him out of the deep freeze and... Picard, it says Picard. Not like Picard, but Picard.
Or bored? Would
Oh,
be
yeah,
the word?
bored. Yeah, bored.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were having a seizure or something.
Damn it,
Okay.
Travis.
This done, Quint picks up a harpoon, tests the point, sharpens it on a shark hide.
And where would you like this shark delivered, sir?
Anywhere we can see it's dead.
Ooh, you want him gift wrapped.
Call me. As soon as you have some news.
What is it now?
We
I
see
ain't going.
Salvatore.
Ain't going.
You ain't what?
I ain't that crazy, that's what. Now I brung in some mean big mothers with you, and now I'm resigning on this. No, sir.
Mutiny on the Bounty. Good movie, shit ending.
No one asked you, Travis.
Is Peter O'Toole? I don't mess with nothing built like no station wagon 18 to 20 foot. How much you want?
Not with no man eater. He ain't gonna live up to no reputation on me.
Go load up.
That's all I'm gonna do.
Might have to wait till I dig up another.
I'll go.
He tosses Brody the length of rope.
Tie me a barrel knot.
Brody feels useless.
I really want to go, Mr. Quint.
5 lengths of half-inch, 20 number 14 straight gaff.
I'll get a pro to come along.
Quint runs through his checklist to himself, pan down to the floor in the arsenal of hand-to-shark weaponry.
Flying gaffs, tail rope, eye splices, M1 pillars, irons. Irons.
Exterior Quinn stock day. Hooper's fighting gears on deck. His colleague from Woods Hole looks at him with some dismay as they go over the checklist of fighting gear from the Oceanographic Institute. The colleague with a smaller boat alongside hands him the last few bits and pieces.
Powerhead, CO2 darts, hypo, regulator, tanks, depth gouge.
Colleague glances up towards the flybridge, and Quint. Salvatore goes back and forth, rolling on chum barrels. Someone just be colleague.
You should be in on this, Matt. Hunting anything down. I mean, that's not our area.
Well, maybe I'm in the wrong area.
What's this, Glamour Boy? What are you? Some kind of half-ass astronaut? A portable shower?
Thanks, I'll see you.
Huh?
Anti-shark cage.
Anti-shark cage. And you're inside the cage in that water?
If necessary.
You're in the water. Shark's in the water. Our
That's right.
shark.
That's right.
Believe me, if all those entering that I gaze off so fondly today to Boston, and so nevermore shall we see you again.
Let's go.
Bravo. Angle on pier. Brody is walking down on the pier bundled in foul weather clothes. Like a tenderfoot sea scout, he carries a shopping bag and an overnight kit. Quint can't help himself. He guns the Orca's diesel engine to sound like a wolf whistle.
Well, shiver me timbers.
Brody is helped unsteadily to the boat by Salvatore, who then leaps lightly onto the dock, casts off with style. Even now, Brody is beginning to look sick and holds on to the hatch handle.
Front bow, aft stern. Got it? Good. Missing a great adventure. Sail. Yo ho ho.
You
I think
bet,
he said
Mr. Quint.
Sal, not sail, but okay.
Sail.
Orca chugs
sorry.
past the dock and towards the narrow breakwater. Hi. Note to be included in the Blue Shark Frenzy per Benchley's novel to get the third act underway. Exterior ocean afternoon. The Orca is drifting in neutral. The ocean is like gelatine, apparently. The sun sucking heat waves from its surface. Brody at the stern, handkerchief on his head to protect from further sunburn, has been handed the slimiest job on the shark hunt. The ladling out of chum. Brody is reeling with nausea. Hooper is up at the wheel on the flybridge. Do not knock that, Starbucks. Knocking my mouse. Hooper is up at the wheel with a flybridge. He dons a baseball cap and aviator sunglasses. Quint is firmly situated in the fighting chair, reeling on the bait, and all three have the look of being on open water for the better part of the day with no luck.
That don't tempt him either, huh?
He yells out the bait, 2 mackerel, barely alive. Ow! What? Jesus!
We'll find him something.
Sorry. Someone's rearranging my laptop. Stop! Brody opens his overnight kit. Wait. I'm sorry. Hooper studies this man Quint as he flings aside the mackerel. Brody has stopped chumming and is retching over the side.
Keep that chum going, Chief. We got 5 good miles on him. Don't break it.
Brody opens his overnight kit and takes out the handkerchief. Some Old Spice aftershave. He pours the aftershave onto the cloth, presses it onto his nose, and resumes ladling. Quint almost trips over Hooper's tanks as he walks to the chum barrels. He roughly kicks them aside.
Fancy goddamn toys.
Careful! Compressed air! You crack that and it explodes like a bomb!
Fine expensive gear you have out here, Mr. Hooper. I don't know what that shark's gonna do with it. Might eat it, I suppose. Rocking chair one time, cutting up my deck.
Quint takes a red strip of whale meat and gnarled squid in the garbage pail and searches for a number 2 hook rig.
That from a pilot whale too?
Can't you tell here? Cute, huh? The expert don't approve. Now you swim down and give a nice big kiss to Mr. White.
You still think it's all the way out here?
I think they'll do, Chief.
They have brains the size of a radish.
Quint gets a big laugh out of this and sits in the fighting chair. He casts off Murmury and the line feeds out.
Now, if he weren't around, we'd hook something else by now, wouldn't he? But he'd scare them all away. You didn't know? Yeah, I don't know. You poor lonesome son of a bitch. Come to Papa, you.
The line whizzes off the reel. Brody jumps up, puts his hand on the dragon, addresses the situation softly.
Atta baby, he'll gulp it down now. Woo! Oh, woo!
Quint tightens the dragon strikes. The tagline goes whizzing out. Brody runs to Quint's side.
You got it?
Get behind me. Reverse her, turn. He's taking too much line. Wet my reel. Hey, Chief, wet my reel, quick.
Just,
No.
yeah.
Hooper, for Christ's sake, aren't you watching it? Starboard, for Christ's sake. Hooper, half speed. There. Hooper, neutral. Where the hell's he going? I don't know, Chief. I don't know if he's very smart or very dumb. Oh, this ain't fooling me. Sure, try it. Making it believe it's easy now. Getting ready to run again. No. What's he playing furiously? Hey, Chief, put your gloves on. Let's see who's going to tease who now. Down here. Do like I told you.
Can't bring him up so quick.
How do you know? How do I know?
He's nearly up.
Unbuckle me fast. Grab the leader. He ain't normal. This one. They never. Snap it on, jerk. Watch your hands. Grab onto this.
Before he realizes what's happening, Brody is clumsily clutching at the big rod, appalled. Quint skips away for a harpoon and picks up from the row of 12 turns. And that's when the leader lashes free, sending Hooper crashing backward in a serious fall. The rod whips at Brody's forehead, drawing blood. Quint snatches up the rod and reels in. The wires have been bitten through.
Sure, you're having a ball. Get him up here.
He's hurt.
I'm okay.
What's the point with hooks and lines?
Don't tell me my business. Quarter mile that way. Full throttle.
I don't understand, though. How do you expect to...
This tricks him to the surface. Got that? Then I can jab at him. Understand? Then I'm going to haul him in like a catfish.
Brody begins to apply cream to his sunburned nose. It's a very intricate plot point there. I'm glad I had to read that line.
Over there.
Why over there?
At least you handle the boat all right.
I can do more than that. Look, Quint, I brought along a lot of
Stop.
fancy...
Here. Cut the engine.
Hooper cuts the engine as Quint swings nimbly down. He stands stock still in the main deck, motioning Brody to be silent. Then picking up the newly rigged rod, Quint soft shoes it over to the chair. About to sit down, he freezes, looking stunned, moving back, eyes wide, moving closer, aghast. We see the shark. First jet black the fin, then the head and the upper jaw. 20 yards off, it finally submerges, veering off one side. With a neat slap of its tail. That's amazing. Hanging on Quint, he puts his rod away. Bravo.
Jesus, I heard they got that big.
Closer to 30 feet.
25. 3 tons of them. There.
What's the formula? Girth says 150 inches squared and divided by 800. That's 615, 150 divided by 2,000. Just over 3 tons.
Where'd it go?
Don't monkey with none of my gear.
Your harpoons are attached to these, right? They pop up and drag on him. Drag on him till he's through. Isn't that the idea?
You can't improve on it.
What if we have to follow him?
Sonny, take that and your formulas and your cage. Take your whole half-ass hardware store here and fuck off.
A whale
Sorry.
of a jolts the orca. Nope, that's fine, Travis. I like when you swear. It's very unexpected. Quint grabs for a harpoon. Brody pulls his snub-nosed special from his shopping bag. Hooper sees the panic on Brody's face and reaches a hand out to him.
Put that away.
Once more, once more.
Whoomp. It almost takes a thumble into the water. We see the glistening back end fin below him. He plants the harpoon, and the great white slaps the transom with its tail and sounds. Interior coiled rope and barrel. The rope reels out in the blur, and Hooper just pins Brody out of the way and spinning coils just in time. The barrel with flasher attached literally somersaults out of the boat, missing both men's faces by 7 inches. Quint is already poised, feet planted with harpoon number 2. Angle in the ocean, the barrel skips like a flat rock over the surface of the water and then unexpectedly vanishes under the water. What?
You can't stay down swimming with that on. Wait till I stick him with 2. That'll worry him. Come on upstairs. What's he waiting for? He can't keep down this long.
Why don't we go in? Have a crack tomorrow.
We got 1 barrel on him, so we stay out here till we find him again. We are staying out here till I got him.
They exchange looks. He's nuts. Exterior orca, open sea, night clothes on, Brody asleep on the deck. A day has taken its toll. Brody is riding the crest of some bad dreams on the verge of waking at any moment. Engel, Quint, and Hooper both sit at the transom. Hooper takes a long pull from a bottle of Quint's homebrew, and Quint is railing at him, both a little smacko. Quint?
Oh yes.
Close
oh yeah.
call my ass?
Close call my ass. Baby dogfish in the laboratory. See this thumb?
Oh, you got the monopoly, huh? Here. Look at this one.
Beauty mark.
Bull shark scraped me. I was down getting samples and he...
Mako. Match that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it going. This is great.
80-foot moray eel right through the suit, baby.
Well, I'll raise your moray eel, and I'll show you this. You're in one place.
No, it says he starts undoing his belt and undoes his zipper, Travis.
Well, I mean, we get. I mean, if they got to get the premium package.
Nobody wants to.
All right.
You're in one piece, aren't you? Hear me, lovely. Me lovely.
Minor league. Where's it from?
Tilly Schwab, Newark, New Jersey. Jersey.
Right, you want to play dirty? Standing in line for The Exorcist.
Oh yeah, well, I got that toe that'll wipe the floor with you. Look at this toe.
Oh yeah, guess what? Look at this. Look at this right here. See this? George Graham made it enlarged. He enlarged. I've enlarged heart.
Something
George
catches
Graham.
his eye. On Quint, something catches his eye and sobers him.
He's up again.
The stroboscopic signal light surfaces at the horizon.
Very handy light, I'll say that.
Let's move in on him.
Not until I can see him good. Even the one, I'll keep pulling him up, but he'll need 3, maybe 4. Most I ever used was 2. Bastard ran me halfway to Liverpool. That's a
You
neighbor.
kill him?
Always do once I stick a barrel on him. No more objections? Jaws. 2 foot. What? Yeah, 2 foot wide. Real prestige item.
How'd you get that one?
Down again.
A scar on your arm.
Had a tattoo there.
Change your mind about somebody? Let me guess. You mutta.
Hooper, that's the USS Indianapolis.
Oh.
Oh!
His face falls when he hears this, and Quint looks at him ironically.
Guess you know all about that.
Your Honor? June 45?
Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. He was coming back from the island of Tilian Delay, just delivered the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men were in the water. Vessel went down in 12 minutes. Didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. Tiger, 13-footer. You know when you're in the water, Chief, you can tell by looking by the dorsal to the tail. We didn't know. Was our bomb mission had been so secret? No distress signal had been sent. They didn't even list us overdue for a week. Very first light, Chief. Sharks come cruising, so we found ourselves into tight groups. It's kind of like those squares in the hall you see in the calendar, like the Battle of Waterloo. And the idea was sharks come to the nearest men, and you start pounding, hollering, screaming, and sometimes the shark go away. Sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes the shark, he looks right at you, right in your eyes. You know that thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like doll's eyes. When he comes at you, doesn't seem to be living until he bites you, and those black eyes roll over white, and then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming. The ocean turns red. Despite all the howling, the hollering, they all come in, they rip you to pieces. By the end of that first dawn, lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks, maybe thousands. I don't know how many men. They averaged 6 an hour. On Thursday morning, Chief, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson, from Cleveland. Baseball player, bosom's mate. I thought he was asleep. Reach over to wake him up. Bobbed up and down in the water just like a kind of top. Upended. Well, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. Noon the 15th, Mr. Hooper, a Lockheed Ventura saw us swinging low, and he saw us a young pilot, a lot younger than Mr. Hooper anyway. He saw him come in low. 3 hours later, a big fat PBY comes in, starts to take us up. That was the time I was most frightened. Wind from light turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So 1,100 men went into the water. 316 men came out. The sharks took the rest, June the 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb.
Jesus, Travis. My God. You can't blame.
Hooper is interrupted by the boom and a banshee cries of a distant whale. Angelon Brody springs out of his shallow sleep.
What? What the hell?
A whale's out there. Told you so.
And George is like, Jesus Christ, Dan. England, the sea light has surfaced a quarter of a mile away.
Go on and sleep, the two of you.
Brody sinks back, half awake and panting from his burst of fright. Hooper looks at Quint a long time, suddenly a stranger again, and then beds himself down in the balmy night air. Quint starts to doze, massaging his missing tattoo. Cut to the ocean night. The orca sits on unruffled waters, a planetarium of star life overhead, with shooting stars every now and again making incisions into the heavens and leaving green trails behind. All is quiet, not a breath of wind. The barrel's strobe light pops into the foreground close. It heads to the orca, craving neon blue phosphorescence into the water. A massive dorsal fin surfaces in the night and circles the orca, leaving phosphorescence in its broad wake. The night sky's silent waters are now alive and dancing light. As they sleep, a sound is heard. A low practiced scraping. No one wakes. The sound returns. Another scrape. A crunching noise, almost like chewing. Then a gentle bump at the stern. Quint stirs. Brody turns over. Hooper is sleeping soundly. Then a seizure of violent shaking, a horrible splintering and popping noise. Quint half falls, half springs out of the chair. Hooper is on his feet but loses his footing as the orca again is bumped from underneath. Brody holds on his gun in hand. Quint pulls out his M1.
Start the engine.
Hooper is on the flybridge at 6 bounds. Quint flies downward over the transom. The engine starts and something about it sounds wrong.
Cut it.
Is he there?
They're looking around, but no light can be found.
I don't know where he is. Rip something loose, shaft or something.
He hefts up a deck board, pokes his small flashlight into the cavity.
I told you I have things to kill it with. Take over up there. I can't. Quint.
Start the pump, goddammit.
Are we leaking?
We'll stay afloat. Watch for the barrel.
Can't I bail or something?
Quint takes Brody by the arm and sits him down, pointing out to the starboard.
Keep your eyes open, that's all. And keep you looking that way, killer. And nobody sleeps. Nobody.
Angle on the Orca, 3 men standing sentinel. Stars, quiet seas, blue phosphorescent lighting up the water. Hear the whale singing from far away. Exterior Orca dawn. Brody leans against the wood shield on the flybridge. Tired arms hoist binoculars to his eyes. Visible without binoculars is the signal light and the barrel, not moving. 200 yards astern. An angry racket filters up from below deck. Quint is effecting engine repairs the only way he knows how. Brody has learned that a neat sailor's trick and nimbly slides down to the hand piping with his feet, avoiding the steps. He slides up to Hooper, who's struggling, into his full wetsuit.
Moving.
Oh, still there.
Hooper is busy attaching the cage to the gen pole. He's full on purpose, his hands working against the clock. Short glances to hatch from where Quint can be heard, cursing and wrenching.
Please, Matt, don't get him sore. He's loony enough.
Hooper tests the rope, inspects his gear, selects a steel pole, and opens a tiny green felt case.
Put all that stuff away before he finds out.
Insert green felt case. Hooper opens it, removing a deadly-looking syringe head.
He had a turn. Now I'll have a turn. Maybe you should have a turn too.
Body. Jesus. Brody tries to reason when Quint emerges dirty, red-eyed, haggard, and pauses to take it all in.
What is this?
Strychnine nitrate, 20 cc's.
Wear all the Batman costumes you want, sport, but don't you interfere with me.
All you need to do is lower me in.
I need a transom that don't leak every time that shaft goes around. Bent seems splitting open there.
He said shaft. Quint finesses Orca slow ahead toward the barrel. The engine sounds like a hamster treadmill. Hooper climbs up beside him.
You know he'll go for the cage.
Not today, Doc. No injections.
I can finish him in 60 seconds.
Whole goddamn housing loose. He can hear it too.
Can't you stop this Moby Dick crap?
We do this the way I know how, Hooper. I know how.
Distracted by the swimming cap, which I absolutely love.
Love that
Quint
cap.
cuts the engine once alongside the barrel. Hooper barely controls himself, climbs down. Quint follows after him, putting a cautioning hand on Hooper's shoulder, trying to walk softly, then motions to Brody to stay on the flybridge and keep his eye peeled. Quint and Hooper tiptoe to the stern, Quint intercepting a harpoon along the way. Hooper leans way out over the transom poles and pulls the barrel closer. It bobs around easily, arousing Quint's suspicions.
Yeah, plain possum.
Hooper pulls up the slick nylon rope, leaving the barrel untouched in the water.
Pull up easy. Only want to goose him up. Second you feel he's running, drop it. If you want any hands left.
Hooper starts, hands reeling in. Surprisingly, there's no resistance. Both men share perplexed looks, and Quint reaches over, his whole body leaning over the side, putting down his weapon.
Here, give me a minute. I don't get what he's.
Wangle on the water, both men are draped over the side, their chins almost touching the water on the aft side. From the opposite starboard direction, a fully unfastened from the barrel, comes the great white. First its fin, then the conical nose of the upper border. Where's that mask? Upper border of its wide, gritty teeth. Its knifes through the water in absolute silence, propelling itself with tremendous speed towards the unsuspecting men. Thank the gods for coronavirus and that mask alone. Closing on Brody, his instincts shine, as does his newly acquired sense of direction.
Shark, starboard, it's under you.
Close on and Hooper quit. They just turn in time. A long spine strut saves them from an instant decapitation. The great white passes the transom, the harpoon still in its side, trailing 5 feet off chewed off cable. The monster rolls on its side and looks at them as it passes. Then with a great sweep of its tail, it lashes the side of the boat, ripping the rope from Quint's hand and shearing off 5 square yards of paint like a lathe. It makes a wide arc out to the sea, only fin showing now, and begins to circle around the boat. Quint noticed his hands, palm cut and bleeding. He realizes that came close to losing the whole hand. He has never been more dangerous.
Haul in that rope. He can't foul us. Start the engine. Easy, it'll tail right out.
Can't do it ourselves.
Shut up.
He chewed through this. He cracked your boat. Radio in for help.
Pump her out a little.
I mean it. Send out an SOS.
Don't make me laugh when I'm working.
I'll do it.
Brody heads off for the cabin. Quint close. A perfectly terrible look comes over him. He raises up and starts after Brody. Brody disappears to the cabin. Quint pauses out inside and sees his calloused hand grabs away. He sees Quint's lead-centered baseball bat. His calloused hands grab it up fiercely. Oh, sorry. Still me. Interior Radio Shack. Brody picks up the radio, flicking on knobs and lights on the complex console.
Excuse me, Chief. I beg your pardon. Duty first and pledge.
There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, duty first and pleasure after.
Pleasure? Did you say pleasure?
I did.
Brody, looking up at horror, covering his face, closing on Quint. Quint brings down the bat with all the strength he can summon. Crash! Sparks fly, lights blink, and go out. Plastic sections of the metal ricochet all over the cabin as Quint demolishes the ship-to-shore radio. Quint takes a happy breath, winks at Brody, and hands him the bat.
Excuse me, Chief.
If he were 10 years older, Brody would be on the floor with heart failure. Closing on Hooper, urgently pointing.
Coming right to us. There it is. It's right there.
No, coming at us. Slow ahead. He'll slam us. Head on. Slower. Throttle back.
Angle over the bow. The shark is closing up the gap faster.
Hard to port.
Hooper pulls the boat into a tight turn, and Quint has a shot at the upward rolling flank. He sinks it with a careful precision.
Try shaking that out.
Brody emerges from the cabin as the rope zips overboard and the barrel, charging over, catapults into the air before plunging into the ocean in a cloudy splash.
This won't kill it.
Swing around after him.
Hooper can see the fin racing ahead of the barrel, diving up and down again. Quint prepares the iron.
More gas. Go to half. Get me right alongside him.
You can't rev it up this high.
Watch it. Attaboy. Take 2. They're small.
Hold on a second, guys. I gotta pause. He sinks it deep. He hears shots. As a new row whips out, Brody can be seen standing on the gunwale, clutching at the steel cage in one hand, firing his pistol at the shark with the other. Quint shakes his head in amused disbelief at this as the barrel goes over.
Don't shoot him anymore. He's crazy on his own blood already.
Can't stand here doing nothing.
Order in the court.
He's seen 2 barrels pop to the surface.
3'll do it. He's having trouble with 2. Grab yourselves a couple of poles.
Quint steers slow ahead. Engines are protesting as he maneuvers towards the barrels. Quint peers down, steering closer and closer.
Get ready. Now snag him.
They all hold on for dear life as the shark changes course.
Pull him in the ropes and tie him onto the transom. Free ride.
Brody and Hooper pull in with all they are worth as Quint helps out by wheeling in a circle. He laughs to himself, enjoying the spectacle. Close in on Hooper, securing the rope to a cleat, but allowing the barrel to hang overboard. He helps Brody with his chore on a second adjacent cleat. Wide angle on the Orca. The boat is jarred violently from side to side as the underwater force from the great white jerks and heaves them to and fro, up and down, side to side. Angle on Hooper and Brody are both torn off their feet as the boat is thrust forward. Flybridge, Quint sees the fin. He's pulling the boat.
Get tired. That's quite the idea. He's a little reverse for you.
The shark leaps partially out of the water, and then the sight is both horrifying and awesome. Its jaws break the water, snapping at the ropes and have him snarled and frustrated. Quint throws the Orca into neutral and shuts down.
Haul in. Watch the prop.
With that, Quint slides down to the prow and grabs an iron. It is too late. He grabs another, finding satisfaction, and heft and balanced shark can be seen directly ahead, threshing closer.
Now untie him. Quick, now.
He sinks the iron, and the shark veers towards a gushing shower of spray. Hooper and Brody are trying to untie the cleats, but both ropes are stretched too taut. They jump out of the way as the rope stretches down the side behind the boat, knocking over objects as it skeeters across the deck. The tight, jerky motion, and the Orca is dragged through the water backwards, and much too fast water is splashing up over the transom in its backward wake.
I said untie him.
Wrenched to one side, Quint is knocked from his feet. Close in on the two cleats. Moment of slackness, and then the great surge of raw strength. The rope snaps the cleats off screws, and splintered wood spraying, and the barrels fly into the water. They disappear beneath the turbulent gray surface. The three men, breathing heavily, bruised and pouring sweat, look out over the blank water. Angle on the ocean. Pop, pop, pop. 1, 2, 3. Barrels. Surface. Ready for more.
That's incredible. You can't go deep now or fair either. Not with those. Not for long.
What about us?
Have to pump her steady, Saul.
The barrels start a wide circle. Each cuts through the water, pushing a wave before it, leaving a wake behind.
Follow him. You start pumping out here.
Quint tosses Brody the hand pump and then picks up his 30.06, checks the load.
Maybe a brain shot. One lucky hit.
Goes poorly.
No way he can't.
The barrel's approaching the Orca jet below the surface. 1, 2, 3.
Where'd he go?
Brady looks around, Hooper on the flying bridge, searching in all directions. Quint is looking more appalled every second.
He can't stay down with 3 barrels on him. What are we dealing with here? Where is he?
Have you ever had one do this?
No.
Booming thud at the keel. Brody slides on the wet deck and Quint loses his footing, falling into Brody's arms. Very romantic embrace. Hooper
Finally.
flies bridge. With him, we watch the barrels pop ahead with the bow, and veer briskly to the left and plunk down again.
Follow him.
I can't see him.
There.
The barrels have surfaced and we see a lengthy shadow passing underneath Orca. It is incredibly huge. There's always more of it. There is a scraping noise. Quint looks down as the 2 barrels drag along the sides of the boat.
He's trying to...
Trying to sink us. God damn it, Quint.
Sorry, Brody, but dead astern. Zigazagga.
A zigazagga.
Sorry, zigzag.
There's something different about Quint. He's quieter now, more icily calm. The colorful cockiness has left him. Brody senses that Quint knows he's in the fight for his life. The Orca taking evasive action, but 3 barrels are steadily closing the gap. The engine makes sloshy noises now, missing, backfiring.
He's chasing us. I don't believe it.
Full throttle to port.
Zigazagga again! Hooper, he gooses the throttle, but the engine only screeches and pounds erratically. Zigazagga! 3 barrels zigazagga pass beyond the boat, negotiating a zigazagga tight circle. Plowing mercilessly and zigazaggadly towards the Orca on top of the fin, aims for the stern zigazaggadly. Quint is ready with his rifle zigazagga. The shark breaks water and rises like a rocket, snout, jaw, pectoral fin shooting straight up. We see the smoke white belly, the pelvic fin as it clears the surface and falls sideways, drenching Quint, who fires 6 times. The Orca shudders from side to side. Hooper's point we view with we can just discern what is happening. The shark has the lower transom in its jaws and is shaking the boat with each I just lost my spot. With each jolt of its head, Quint shoots until spent. Brody seizes the gaff and drives it down at the conical nose again and again.
Throttle back.
They're definitely going to need a bigger boat. When they peer out next, the dorsal fin can be seen gliding away, beginning a long circle around the Orca. Right about now, the Orca's engine breathes its final fumes and fails. Close in on Brody and Quint, utter dismay. Hooper turns the key, the motor wheezes, but the engine is dead. Angle on Quint, his eyes flick from Hooper to the transom. It's cracked! Shit! Then out of the barrels. They don't seem to be moving. Zigazagga.
Maybe we killed it, Zigazagga.
We didn't kill it, Zigazagga.
In rebuttal, the barrels begin to move again. Closer. Tighter. Concentric circles. Oh, still me. On deck, Cooper slipping into his weight belt, strapping on the compressed air tanks. Nobody wants to stop him this time. Even Quint helps him on with things.
Pumps are out too. Draw me down 20 feet or so, okay?
Hooper walks over to the cage, opens the steel doors, and closes himself in.
And Brody, try and keep me off until I'm down. Zigazagga.
Quint nods grimly to Hooper, and Hooper brandishes the pole and a fixed syringe. He gives him a thumbs up, and Hooper absently returns it. Quint circles the deck, eye on the barrels. Hooper and Brody on opposite side of the bars.
Lower away, Chief.
Zigazagga! He pops his mouthpiece between his teeth and lowers the face mask. Unsure, Brody manages to undo the knot that starts the cage into the ocean. He and Hooper stare at one another as their faces pass. Hooper's moving down into the slate gray sea. Brody curls the rope around his forearm for a stronger hold.
That's the way, Chief. Zigazagga.
Live and learn, Zigazagga.
Underwater cage, Hooper's point of view submerging the sky, horizon, the waterline, clean, fresh sea air, and the magnificent inner spaces with bubbles sparkling in front of us. Angle in on the Hooper in the cage. As he floats to 20 feet, Hooper never stops looking around 360 degrees. He removes the rubber guard from the needle and waits. Exterior surface, Brody and Quint. Their turning heads tell us that the barrels are still circling. Suddenly, both heads stop turning. The barrels have come to a stop. Delicately, they change course and meander towards the lowered cage. Underwater, Hooper, his back is to us. He is just now completing a visual sweep and turns, eyes front into a close-up, and fixes widely on something monstrous and fascinating. That's a machete, clearly. Hooper's point of view. It's like a boomerang machete. I don't know. It's wood. What? Is that a boomerang?
I don't know.
The water is clear. Shafts of sunlight streak downward in the blue from the deep gloom. Driving slowly, smoothly, comes the shark. It moves with no apparent effort, sinuous beyond comparison. As it nears the edge of the cage, it turns, and its ghastly link passes right in front of him. First the snout, then the jaw, slack and smiling just like that. Then the black eye. Continued. Hooper tentatively reaches out. It is too far for the strychnine pole. The vinyl flesh is pocked with bullet holes, iron scars, gaffing hooks, strange open wounds that tinge the passing currents with pink. Surface, the trailing barrels gong and scratch the keel of the Orca above. Brody and Quint leap back. Hooper, close. The shark has vanished into a cloud of rising silt. Hooper is expecting the shark to attack from out that same general direction, braces himself, pole extended through the bars, breathing faster, straining his eyes to the gloom, and we see the shark attacking from behind him! The cage is sent careening. Hooper grips the bars for dear life. The shark has grabbed the steel struts of its brutal jaws and shaking the cage relentlessly from side to side, bending the bars like clothes hangers. Hooper can turn the point end of the pole around. His body is jammed as far away from the non-rational attacker as possible. Hooper is trapped. The shark withdraws to get some running room, then charges again, the bleeding snout thrust deeper into the yawning bars and the jaws snapping and twisting 2 feet from Hooper's torso, the tail thrusting it forward. Hooper drops the strychnine pole between the bars and it tumbles slowly towards the raptured death below. All the shark needs is one more good thrust before separating Hooper and the wasteland. Through frantic bubbles, Hooper fumbles with the overhead hatch cover, kicking up and out of the cage. The shark backpedals with its tail, but the broad head won't shake loose. Hooper rushes downwards after the strychnine pole. Ankle, shark, spirals out of harmless bullets bead the water. Shark twists free of the cage and arrows down after Hooper. Hooper nearly recovers the pole. Again, it slips from his frightened grasp, and this time it disappears into the narrow abyss. Hooper turns and looks up. The great white is lunging at him 20 feet above surface. On the barrel, the rope snakes around the cage. Rope pulls taut Hooper deep, turning to meet the monster which, through held back for a moment by the snarled rope, now surges forward. Surface, Brody and Quint on the Orca is listing dangerously aft. The gin pole bent almost to the breaking point. Brody is in the frenzy trying to haul up the cage. Quint attaches the end of Brody's rope to a hand winch. Jesus. The gin pole is splitting. Quint.
Let's go of it, Zigazag.
Zigazag, the pole gives away! The rope whipping down on the gunwale, the pulling of the tonnage below is tipping the Orca, dragging it, but Quint won't give up the winch. Brody hauls on the rope barehanded. Underwater, Hooper maneuvering downward away from the jaw. Suddenly, the crazed shark veers upwards for the surface. Quint, the winch is working faster now. Quint demonically winding it in. Its crushed cage bangs against the hull, then breaks water. Brody is horrified. The cage is empty!
He's coming up. Zigazag.
Master Angle, the shark, breaks the water right beside the Orca, rising with its great whooshing noise. It rises vertically, towering overhead, blocking out the sun. The pectoral fins seem to reach forward. The shark, in all of its monstrous glory, falls under the stern of the boat with a shattering crash, narrowly missing Quint and Brody. It drives the stern underwater, and the ocean pours in over the transom. The jaws snap from side to side. Brody flounders backwards away from it, and Quint gropes for his rifle and fires. The shark heaves its terrible girth, and Quint flies backwards onto its harpoon display. Close on Quint, skewered with number 12 iron. Quint gulps blood and pitches into the onrushing sea. Zigga-zagga! The Orca is tipping backwards, sinking stern first, tipping Brody towards the gaping, thrusting jaws. Oh yeah, they're so thrusting. Deck chairs, irons, and spent cartridges, thermos, beer cans, and all pour into the vacuum of the open, gagging jaws. Zigga-zagga, baby. It wants Brody now. Tail keeping him in position. Brody is sliding towards it with the rest of the debris, and the bow rises 30 degrees. He intercepts one of Hooper's compressed air tanks, and just as he and everything else pours towards the whirlpool and into the jaws, Brody braces himself and shoves the tanks into the bottomless pit. They jam between the upper and lower jaws and stick fast. The shark twists backwards in the water and turns away. Hooper, rising, is peering around for Brody and Quint. The shark is spinning in crazed circles, the head thrusts, indicating that it can neither dislodge nor swallow the silver tanks. It bites down at 15 tons pressure per square inch. The tanks explode! Surface explosions, 30-foot geyser of bright red water touches the black sky everywhere, missing nothing. Underwater, clouds of blood, shark suspended carcass, another cloud, Quint suspended. Surface, the Orca sinks with the rumble. Close in on Hooper on the surface, raising his mask from the water as he kicks towards Brody. Underwater, the steel gray of the shark is falling away, an apparition of evanescing into darkness, sinking in a slow, graceful spiral, stopped by the bobbing barrels. Surface, Brody and Hooper. Brody is holding onto a cushion, barely afloat, in shock.
Quint, is he dead?
Is that a bread pillow? It's amazing.
Just
Is he
don't,
dead?
Just don't talk. We got a long zigzag away home.
Two tiny, miserable heroes swimming from the debris. Fade out. The end. That's wonderful. And Jeremy is saved by the giant baguette.
Is that legitimately a croissant
That's awesome.
baguette pillow?
With the
Oh my
shark and
gosh.
the
Oh my
baguettes and the
goodness.
zigzag.
Oh my god!
Everyone,
oh my god! Wait,
thank you.
I want that so much more
And just
than my
when like
stupid body pillow.
I
want
just
Yeah.
it's amazing. seeing, like, just when I expect we've seen all of Jeremy's props, like another amazing prop, such as the gorgeous
love this
swimming
thing.
cap, and now this bread pillow just pop up. It's wonderful. Anyway, that's a tangent.
Fantastic.
Thank you for watching. We hope you have a good night, and we hope you enjoy.